We are
the Soca Analyst.
And yo, today's episode is wild because this is the first time I'm doing a podcast with 4 people. So if anything gets fucked up, you guys, just give us a bly because we're running new tech things for the first time. Bear with us. Yes, I'm here today with DJ JEL yet again. I can't believe I got JEL again on 2 podcasts for the month. This is pretty wild.
Yeah, we gotta get the timing while we can.
All right, and I'm super excited to bring on 2 other people that you all will know and love. We got Blackie.
What's up? Soca Influencer, boy.
What's up?
Blackie. When we started the podcast, Blackie was one of the people to actually help support it a lot when we restarted it for this year. Yeah. And he's given input. He shared the podcast. He's done his own videos. So it was only natural that we had to bring the Soca Influencer on.
Of course.
And I'm also here with my guy Gino. For those of you guys that know, Gino was actually one of our earlier guests on our podcast like years ago when we were still doing it. So Gino is no stranger to the Soca Analyst. He's been involved in the Carnival scene. He's also involved with Mass Band with JEL, and he does a lot of really dope stuff behind the scenes. And he's just a lover of Carnival. And Gino, is there anything else I'm missing from the intro? Let me know.
I mean,
he's got hair that everybody loves.
Everybody. Relax. Anyway, we continue.
And he's heavy into tech as well. So he's actually looking at ways to revolutionize the industry, especially as it relates to Caribbean entertainment.
Correct.
Oh, that's dope, bro. Okay. The AI, now it's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So yeah, we got characters on today's podcast.
Oh yeah, Bacchanal.
Today's gonna be fun.
Before we start, the views of Blackie, the Soca Influencer, are not necessarily those of DJ JEL and Rich and the Soca Analyst.
Yes. We everybody have our disclaimers. We know you're gonna come for us regardless in the comments and do all the bullshit that you guys do, but just know that we still love you guys no matter what, and we each got our own views and opinions just as you guys do. So stay tuned. Grab a cup of rum. We drinking white oak, so let we pull up.
The Soca Analyst. Caribbean culture to the world.
Let me start with the cheers.
Salud.
Cheers.
White
oak. JEL, your camera's right there. Yo, white oak.
Look how much white oak we have today.
Do you see this?
Wow.
Do you see this Angostura white oak? Do you see how much we support and
It's
love you guys?
almost finished.
I walked all the way to the shady ass liquor store to get to these bottles. You understand?
Liquor store.
You understand?
He walked down Liberty Avenue, guys. It's not that serious.
Well, we went during the day. We didn't go at night, bro. It's a whole different scene at night. But yes, we drinking white oak. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys. I don't really know. I mean, today we could fucking talk about anything you guys want. But I don't know. I guess let's just start with you, Blackie. I mean, I've known you like since you started doing stuff. I don't know you. So I think a lot of people would like to hear tell us a little bit about your backstory. When did you start loving Soca? What do you love about it? And what made you want to become Blackie, the Soca Influencer?
So, where do I start? My dad is the main. I call my dad the original Soca Influencer because he really is the reason why I'm into Soca now. Mm-hmm. He's the biggest Bungie fan I know. Like biggest. There's no Bungie fan bigger than him. Honestly, the man knows what year he was born. This, that, and third, and.
He even knows Bungie's real name?
Yes, of course.
Just move that orange juice bottle over.
Yeah. He in his black Acura back when he used to have that. He used to play all his albums, all his vintage albums you can think of, all the songs. And I used to sit there and listen. Oh, this is really good. Ironically, the first Soca song I ever heard was "Big Truck" by Double M. That's the first song I've ever heard and I heard it in his car back when I was 8 or 7 years old. I was like, oh, this is an interesting genre. My dad never really told me about Soca. It's more like he just played it around me, and I was like, okay, this is an interesting genre. As I got older, I kept on learning about it, and I started making videos I started making videos really on Facebook. It's just for fun. Oh yeah,
Facebook.
That's an era that only people who've been following for a while. But I migrated to Instagram because my Facebook name got taken away because I didn't have my real name on it. So instead
was it always Blackie in the beginning?
It was Blackie J in the beginning. But Facebook had this weird thing where like they was like, tell us your real name, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So they just took it away. So I went to Instagram, and I already had an Instagram already, but it was like basically a bunch of bots and like not real followers. So really, I had 0 followers. Yeah. So I had 208 followers, but all those was like bots. So basically, I just kind of like I took away. I blocked a bunch of people that wasn't real people, and I started from the beginning. I remember when I first got on Instagram, I looked at different Caribbean content creators. I was like, wait a minute, nobody's really talking about soca like that. Like, you see an occasional, at a soca fete, we're this. I'm like, no one's talking about Road March, Soca Monarch, how this artist did this at this year, and how the accomplishments stack up. Okay, let me start doing it. The amount of people that have told me that my content would not last because of people just wouldn't pay attention to it, I was like, it's not true. And I just kept going. It wasn't until the end of 2018 into 2019 where I really started gaining traction. And I used to make these videos. If you remember, I used to make videos where like I would have my phone right in front of on top of my computer. I would start dancing around in my living room of different videos. But I had to migrate from that. I want to do something different. And I think the pandemic really took off for me. That's when everything started just clicking, and I understood what I really can bring.
That's dope, bro. That's
a really way longer story, but that's like
no. That's good. That's an important backstory for people to know, and even including myself. Yeah, bro. No, that's it is. You make a really good point, right? Which was like you had a love for something, and you saw that people were making content, and like in a lot of ways, like, you know, when JEL and Kendricks and I first started, it was the same thing. Yeah. This was now almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think that like that demand is only still now like only being filled, and it's, you know what I mean. But it was the same exact thing. It was like the Soca Analyst 2016. Like my boy Kendricks would just come over. We'd literally just have white toke and get drunk and talk about soca music, and we were talking about the same exact things. Like, yo, like. I don't know, man. I don't think Ravi B and that other dude should have tied. I feel like Ravi B should have won the fucking Chutney Soca Monarch and all that shit. And the same thing, we would talk about like, oh, we think this tune is this, and then we put it out there. And I mean, like, JEL was like one of the first people to actually like jump on it. You know what I mean? It was like JEL and Warren. I remember, I got a message from Warren.
Big up Warren and Patrice.
I got a message from Warren out of nowhere one day. Yo, bro, mind you, like, put it in perspective. I'm just like a college kid, making these little like videos about soca, not really, you know, thinking anything about it. To get a random message from a dude in Trinidad, and his thing wasn't even like, "Hey, I'm Warren." His whole message was, "Yo, when y'all coming to Trinidad?" I'm like, "Yo, what?" And I'm like, "What? This is the most Trinidadian introduction someone could ever make, bro. When you come into Trinidad."
I know they're coming.
And then like, you know, so
but that goes to show even in 2016 up to now, how much little the supply is being filled with.
The conversations repeat.
Yeah, for like us and our music and our people. So that's really, really dope, bro. So
and even then, like, sorry, just to add, you know, there would be 1 or 2 people who would start up something. They start with big YouTube channel, and then after 2-3 months, it done.
I mean, it happened to us. I mean, we were going, and then like I said, life just got a little too crazy for like both me and JEL, and the content creator, as you know. Yeah. The content creation
is a full-time job.
Yeah, it takes so much time, bro. And you know what I mean?
Especially, I mean, Caribbean content creators, we are, that's a whole separate topic.
Y'all are in a niche of a niche of a niche.
Yeah. Yes. And especially have people within the Caribbean that don't really like Caribbean content creators.
Yes.
It's tough.
That's a really important thing to make a distinction. I mean, we could talk more about this later, because it's something like Savannah and I talk about a lot, which is like there is a pretty apparent divide in like what types of content resonate with Caribbean people, not just in like America, but specifically in New York and Florida and Atlanta and so on forth. And then like Caribbean people like in the islands, because in terms of like content consumption, I mean, JEL, like you're chiming, I think you might know a little bit more about this, but it's almost as if they're like completely different audiences sometimes.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
You know?
Some people only like the... And I mean, big up my people from the 246. So some people just like the Bajan tube style content.
Yeah.
They only want to see girls shaking their whining down low and walking up and shaking their ass. And they're cool with that. They didn't care about who won Soca Monarch last week. They just want to see the girl and I'm fling waist.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's right.
It's so funny you say that, because like I remember when I first saw Bajan Tube, which for me, like, you know, it wasn't really that long ago. I think I like really only saw them because of By Far's boat rides, and I was like,
so wait, you never heard of them before?
No, that was like the first time.
That was like
Wow.
the major.
yeah, for real.
Before they started doing videos, they were big, even locally in Barbados, and pushing parties and stuff.
But the video that really made him go viral was the video of that girl with the fluorescent colors and the guy danced where he picked. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know you're talking about.
There's a video that video really set them off. Like really let them go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just figured they do content creation at parties, which it's because when I first saw them, I was like, wait a minute, are these guys like event videographers? Or they like film events? And in a sense,
They used to cover it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they discovered a new market.
new marketing.
With that.
Yeah,
And they took it and just
Ran
gone.
with it.
Yeah, which is again, it has. Of course, it's gonna happen. Of course, it's gonna happen each. But, yeah, no, I remember seeing. I was talking to JEL again, and I was like, JEL, like, what should we do with Soca Analyst stuff and everything? Like, I don't really know, because at one point I told him, I was like, bro, like, I think we should just officially like say our goodbyes and stuff, because like there's no way we can keep doing this. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't made content in like.
And
like
then
4
also
years.
to make it harder, because you see, you are a full-time content creator, right?
Yeah, which is
I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
Rich is a videographer.
Yeah.
So we're doing this on the side, but we also had the passion.
Yeah.
So
When we spoke about it, I was like, yo, I don't know if we could still do like all the micro content and stuff like that. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Like, we don't really have to do all that stuff, because like Blackie exists now, and Blackie like manages to take all the important aspects and ask the important questions in such a condensed form that actually gets people to talk about it. Yeah. And then when I really thought about it, and I was like, you know, what was the one thing that I actually really loved the most about the Soca Analyst? And I was like, yo, it's the podcast. So I was like, you know, it was really amazing for me to see you do what you do, because you found a way to captivate people's attention in really short form ways that can be churned out like relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And I'd be laughing, yo, like I'll be fucking dying sometimes, because like I'll just wake up in the mornings and I'm fucking scrolling on Instagram. I see fucking Blackie. Yo, people! It's like my morning alarm. Yo, people, I'm Blackie. Blackie in his bed too. In the morning without a shirt on. Yo, people. And I'm just like, yo. And I'll turn to Savannah. I'm like, yo, Savannah, look at my welcome, my good morning welcome video this morning. And then I'll see Blackie with just a flag on top of his head, just draped down like that.
which he's now replaced, by the way. Blackie bought
Oh
2
my God.
new flags
One.
in Orlando. So now he has 2 new Trini bandanas.
But well, even to what you said about the content, it's like especially this year, I have to now schedule my videos way in advance, because I'm traveling too, and I'm supposed to do other things on the side too. So now the content's becoming more like, let me record this video for 2 months from now.
oh wow!
I
So
literally
you have
have-
a process.
Yeah, I literally have videos scheduled. Every video I said, any videos you see, I already recorded that probably 2 months ago or a month ago. I schedule my videos out in.
But what about the stuff that
Now,
releases like?
I'm gonna say yeah. Now, if you need like immediate releases, that you see immediate. But like videos like what I posted yesterday about a song that you instantly fall in love to. I recorded that video literally like last month.
Oh wow!
It's just it's sat in my drafts. But I literally schedule it all out. TikTok's different. I have to literally like post it. TikTok, by the way, add a feature where I can schedule videos, please, on the mobile device, because that's kind of annoying.
Assuming they don't get banned.
Thank God I haven't got banned yet, because some of my content should be banned. But anyways, yeah, even now it's becoming much more like I need to really plan this out, because I'm traveling now, and once you start traveling, I realize it's a totally different ball game.
Welcome to our
Yeah,
world.
it's a totally different ball game now. Before I was just like I'm traveling like once a year. Now it's like I'm going to Lucia, Toronto, and Grenada within about a month time span. So I need to be able to plan out my content. And that's not easy.
Did you envision your platform being as big as it is right now?
No, not at all. Like it still blows my mind that people get so excited when they see me in person. It'd be like, oh, you know who I am. Like I know I have a following, but it's more like I have such tunnel vision when it comes to my content. I'm so focused on posting videos the best of my ability that I just don't really like see, like I love Gary V a lot. And Gary V, he
JEL.
yeah,
Remember,
we just
10
talked
years
about it.
ago,
Yeah.
right? We doing the podcast, and JEL would be like, Rich, this guy
Rich.
Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Rich, hold on. Don't age. You could age yourself. You over 30. Sir,
Hey.
we didn't know each other 10 years ago.
It was more like it was 2016. Let me just put that. For me, it's fucking 10
no,
years.
we met in 2017.
Oh, you're right. We launched the podcast and the video stuff 2016. We met, the year after. All right, Joe, 7 years
7
ago.
years ago, not 10. Not 10.
Let me spare you the 3 years, Joe.
I mean, it may feel like 10, but it's not 10.
But yeah, I really love Gary Vee. Like he's posted a lot of stuff. But the one thing he said is like when you're posting content, don't study the hate or even study the positivity. Just remain even kill. That's the basics of it. And I saw that. I was just like, yeah, I agree. Like I appreciate all the love. I see the negative comments. Trust me, I can tell you all the negative things people say about me, both in the Caribbean and the States. It doesn't bother me because I've been called worse in person. So it's like, it doesn't bother me. So I don't ever really allow both the positive and negatives to really affect me too much. I'm too busy posting the best of my ability, best content as possible.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I mean, like, anytime you do anything where like you put yourself out there in public to share your thoughts on something, you're always gonna be scrutinized no matter what. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, there are other people that I know that have really great ideas and stuff like that. And they're like, yo, Rich, like, we want to do a podcast, we want to do this too. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's now easier more than ever to do whatever you want in terms of content creation, because you don't need all this if you wanted to. You could literally, like, easiest thing, wake up in the morning like Blackie, just be like, guys.
If you have an iPhone, just do it. Just post.
Yeah.
Like if you have an iPhone, just post.
But I will say that you have to be able to stomach the good and the bad with it, because there is gonna be a lot of great things, but you're also gonna get a lot of negative criticism and not negative
People
feedback,
will
right?
disagree with you on the internet.
Yeah, and it's okay. At the end of
People
the
will
day,
disagree with you on the internet.
it's okay to disagree. Like that's the thing. Like I have disagreements with like some of my closest friends. There are fundamental issues we will have complete opposite perspectives on. Right? All of us have like. I have my own perspective on Carnival and Caribbean
Literally,
culture,
I disagree with Rich on the previous podcast.
Like, literally.
Literally.
And now Blackie's literally sitting here. And we're drinking white oak. Do you guys see? This is what it actually means.
It's not personal. It's just disagreement.
But you know, the bigger thing too is like I think people sometimes forget that like you can disagree with people and still like love people and have friends. You know what I mean? And fight with people and drink with people. I think sometimes people be taking things like mad fucking seriously. Like yo guys, chill out. But so in terms of like you being a full-time content creator, it's one of the things that like I really admire, because it's not something that just anybody can do, and you really have to have like a lot of like thick, like tough skin to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I literally have. I still do jobs on the side because listen, money. To be honest with you, like
We live in New York.
I have a bunch of side jobs on the side too, so it's not easy. Luckily, I still live with my parents, so that's a huge weight off my shoulders. But I'm realizing now I need to really start making money, serious money.
So
there's a joke that I made.
No, because I'm gonna transition to something.
Okay, yeah, there's a joke. Right? So like, I remember I was talking to my cousin the other day, and we were talking about like, yo, bro, there's no fucking parking in Queens anymore. Like, I was like, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. And I was like, well, here's what happened. Every house used to have 2 cars, and now they have 4 cars because all their kids. None of us can fucking afford to move out, so we can afford to maybe have a car, but that's why like there's no parking anymore in fucking Queens, bro.
And it took how long for that? Because that happened in Brooklyn like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If I
Yo,
give
don't give me yo.
But yo, we literally put in our monthly budget to just block hydrants now.
Yeah, so you talked about making money, and you didn't expect the content creation to take off. But in addition to being a content creator, you're also now a promoter.
Yeah.
So let me talk about your events, because you're very opinionated online in terms of how events should go, that you took it a step further and decided to do your own. So
I can't speak for events outside of New York, but so basically, people have been telling me for years to throw a party, but I told them I'm not doing a party until it is the right moment to do it.
And when did you know it was the right moment?
It was when literally, I think I told Gino this. My birthday fell on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Last year, April 8th, 2023 was on a Saturday. So I said, throw a birthday party on a Saturday. People probably will come out because it's me. So I decided to do it. Still didn't expect the crowd that I got, which I probably should have, but in hindsight, but at the time I was just like, let me just promote as much as possible, see what happens. And turned out really good. The event was called Groovy versus Power. That's that. 100 was what's called the Ultimate Soca Fest. Is what I called it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I did a part 1, April 8th. Did a part 2 in July. Did a Miami Carnival send off. It wasn't a part 3.
Part 3.
It wasn't a part 3. It was a send off. Then
Same
I did.
thing. Same. It's still a Groovy versus Power, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
for those who are watching us, what is Groovy versus Power?
It is basically what is it? Like the event.
The event,
in general?
yeah.
Oh, it's a 100% soca event that basically plays the best groovy soca songs and the best power soca songs, and we just determine which we basically determine which one wins at the end of the night.
So out of the 4 that you had,
first one, Power 1, wasn't even close. The second one was interesting. I say all the time, Slackness won. At the second one. Yeah, because the second one was ridiculous. Like after you played at the second one and Mega got on set, it was just crazy. But I would say that was more like a mixture. I feel like
and that's when Headways came out too.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So it was more. I feel like both sides won for that. For Miami Carnival send off one, that I feel like Groovy won that one. Actually, I do feel like Groovy won. And then for the third one, I see why y'all say
the one 2 months ago.
The one 2 months ago. That one was. I actually don't know.
I think it was Power.
I think
it was Power?
It was Power. It was Power for sure.
Yeah, I'll say Power. That one was interesting.
Because we had Whistle While You Work.
Yeah.
We still had Top Striker, which was big. Chopping the Line. Yeah, Power won that time.
But now that I've thrown events, I realize I understand the behind the scenes aspect of it and how much time and stress throwing an event is. But I've realized I'm gonna take this to the next level. Also, I have another concept separate in mind that's not Groovy versus Power. It's let's just say, let's tease it. It's basically 2 island soca's meeting together. I have a couple ideas in mind for that.
Nice.
And that's basically it.
And what about, because I think I also saw there's something called Waistline Friendly.
Yeah, that's just a spin-off. I guess not spin-off series. But that's more or less like a event where we focus heavily on women and gal tunes, because we're me and one member of Fete Masters called KJ. We do that event every November. We try to do something for the summer, but our schedules need to align. And we were talking about it. It was like we feel like a lot of events now, a lot of DJs now, it's just not all DJs, but some DJs now don't really focus on the women anymore. They focus on men, which is just a bit weird.
Which we spoke about before this episode.
We decided to do an event called Waistline Friendly, where it is 90%. No, it's no gunman songs at all, but it is literally mainly for the ladies. We obviously give the ladies a break because can't be whining the whole night because people do get tired. So, but that's the gist of that event.
Nice. And one thing I noticed, especially with the promotion of Groovy versus Power, is that you took a very untraditional route, even in the concept of how the party's thrown.
Yeah.
Including not including certain things like tables, sections, hookah.
Everyone knows I don't like hookah or tables. I understand the business aspect of it because I've done Waistline Friendly where there was hookah and tables, but that's a separate thing. When it comes to Groovy versus Power, I just feel like a lot of events now, a lot of soca events, or soca fetes as some components call it, which it's not soca fetes. It's a soca event, but it's not a soca fete. I feel a lot of events now.
What's the difference between a soca event and a soca fete? Oh wait, did I?
Ask the question again.
Okay. What's the difference between a soca event and a soca fete?
In New York or just in general?
Let's do both.
In New York, I feel like in New York, it's an event where there isn't any hookah tables. Outside of New York, in the Caribbean, I think you said it before, a fete must be outside.
Must be outside.
Must be outside. I agree with that. For New York, I feel like a fete can be inside.
You think so?
Yes, because New York has so much restriction, so it's like you're limited in terms of venue space. But I do feel when it comes to outside, I agree with the mindset. I agree with the logic of a fete must be outside. It can't be inside if you're in Trinidad or in a Barbados or whatever.
Right.
Soca event is basically an event where soca's playing, but you still have your sections, your hookah, your tables, and I just don't like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that when it comes to distinction of like fetes versus limes versus events, I mean, like JEL and I have spoken about this before too, right? Because I feel like from looking at things like the way they were done in Queens and how everything has existed, like I get upset because people market and call things fetes here, which like I get why they do that. But like again, like after you go to Trinidad Carnival and you actually experience what's there, like I realized like a lot of stuff here, like they're not fetes.
Yeah.
Like they're not they're limes or they're events. They're not truly fetes the way that I know fetes to be, like how they have been like in Trinidad and stuff like that. Whoa. Well, there's JEL's recording camera. So anyway, like when it comes to like stuff here, like I think what's happened, and like, you know, JEL and I spoke about this in the last one, where it's like club culture, soca events, and like how club culture kind of mixes with that and creates this atmosphere of, again, like it's not necessarily you go to the event anymore to like love soca and jump up and free up. It's more so like people go there, especially in Queens, to like flex. And
like, where did that start? The
clubs.
whole club.
Clubs.
I know it's clubs,
Clubs.
obviously,
Yeah.
but it's like, why are we bringing
hip hop, and it's not just New York. It's status and clubs and that kind of thing is kind of everywhere you go will have those things kind of go together. But especially in New York, I would say like I started noticing it a lot, like in the hip hop scene, where like bottles and this and that and who's associated with this. And then when you came to when it comes to like the Caribbean scene, like years ago, like yes, like clubs were a big thing. It was like where a lot of people went to experience soca. But in Queens, bro, like we still used to have like outdoor things here. We used to have like just right on this block where Sybil's is, they used to do a massive fucking block party there, bro, every year. And they used to get a good mixed crowd, like a proper Queens and Brooklyn crowd. It wasn't solely divided on race like how things are like today. You know what I mean? So when I look at like a lot of things in New York, I'm like really like conscious about which events I decide to go to, because I don't necessarily even know if the promoters here in New York doing the events even know what a proper Fete is. Like if a promoter is doing something and they haven't actually experienced like a Fete in Trinidad or in one of the major events in an island, I feel like they're missing a very key component in curating an event for Caribbean people. I also understand too that not everybody here has experienced events over there. So like for some people, a soca event here could be like the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? And then they will be like, nah, like you can't say this event was shit, like because everything was so. And I'm like, yes, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. But if you knew what else, and if you experienced other things out over there,
If
like
you've seen the other side
if
of the
you-
table,
yeah, if
and see
you
what
see-
actually happens.
go cross the fucking Atlantic Ocean just for a
Yeah.
little, not go all the way across, but cross just a little bit, couple hours, get on a plane, go to and you don't necessarily need to
Night
go
and
to
day.
Trinidad Carnival per se.
But go to anywhere in the
But
Caribbean.
go to anywhere in the Caribbean and go to one of their major events, and you will see what like a real Fete is. And it's not to knock people here, because I know that we have a lot of restrictions here. But bro, I've seen people do events in backyards and take elements of Trinidad Carnival.
And it's 15 times more vibesy
Yes.
than any
It's-
other big event.
Yo,
Yeah.
it is one of the greatest experiences I've had in New York. I've been to events where like, you know, one of my boys did an event in the backyard, yo.
Big
At-
up Rebel with Snow Cone and Rum.
Rebel Snow Cone and Rum is a perfect example. And Rebel is like a die-hard Trinidad Carnival advocate. Like he's someone I consider like veteran in the scene when it comes to experiencing and playing mass, right? But like, you know, I have gone to events here and there where people have like decided to go the extra mile, which is like they decided to like get like Moko Jumbies. They decided to like get independent food vendors. They decided to have rhythm sections. They decided to have, you know, people handing out cups at the door was the bare minimum.
Yeah. And
know what I
then
mean?
even having the simple things, having corn soup and doubles as you're leaving the party to sober up.
Yes.
These are things we get in Trinidad all the
Corn soup
time.
does sober you up, by the
Corn
way, yeah.
soup
It
is
does
the
sober
biggest
you up.
reviver as a sober
Yes,
up there.
because
Gino,
when you have
take
your
notes.
next event to go to, you need it. I mean, Gino.
We get to Gino just now.
Gino, you gotta tell us your thoughts too, because
But-
Gino is a good example of like someone who like entered the scene as like a younger millennial and stuff, and like been to events in New York and everything.
Millennial or Gen
Millennial?
Z?
Are you Gen Z?
Gen Z.
Really?
Yeah.
Rich, we're all Gen Z.
Are you guys all Gen Z?
Yes, they are.
Well, me and you are millennials.
Me and I'm not. I'm on the cutoff.
I'm 30, so I'm
20,
only,
I just turned 26.
also okay. So
Yeah, so I'm at the
you're
cutoff.
2000?
I'm a millennial.
98.
98. Okay, I once you still in the 90s, bro. I still
No,
consider.
they're Gen Z.
I consider
They're
them
on
us.
the. They're
Wait, you're
again
1 year older than me.
Two.
two.
You're 28?
Yeah.
28.
That's why he gets mad when I reference
thought he was
being 30.
27.
That's
Yes,
you see?
because I don't want to reach 30
That's
yet.
why he gets mad anytime I say.
Yeah,
I thought you 1 year older this entire time.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you ain't pay attention when I was telling him he close to me calling him grandpa.
So then Rich is our grandfather that we're trying to say. But on the notes of Fetes, right? Let me talk about this. Everyone here who has obviously been to the Caribbean knows what a Fete is. What elements do you consider to be the perfect Fete? And I'll start with Gino, because Gino didn't talk for most of the episode.
Yeah. I want to hear your thoughts, Gina.
Well, for me, having finally been able to go to Trinidad on my own this year, I agree. A Fete is for an outdoor setting. A Fete encompasses aspects of the culture that if you cannot encompass the culture overall within a Fete, then it's not a Fete to me. And especially like having started my journey in 2019 in Brooklyn when I met you two, and then I eventually met Blackie. Yes, the pandemic happened, but as you were saying, Rich, to go off your wisdom, those backyard events, especially in 2020 when we now got the privilege to even go outside,
Oh, that was fun.
those are my best memories from coming to New York. So, and it proves that they can do it, but this club culture that has proliferated through New York has completely changed everything.
It's
Because
annoying.
I went from constantly coming out here in 2019 into the pandemic when we were finally able to come back to around the end of 2021. I didn't find value in coming to New York that often. I didn't want to experience the same thing because that's not me. I am not a club person. I went twice in my life. That's not my scene. But a Fete is supposed to encompass the culture in which it comes from. Like, people over here wasn't calling things a Fete. They got it from outside, from their family, and then they encompass it into the New York culture that we have. So if you don't have that, it's not a Fete to me. Because where do we distinguish the club culture that we've seen growing up that we didn't intermingle with to when we became older because everyone was already in it? It became a part of this scene over here.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, bro. Yeah, and I mean, I think we share similar sentiments in that regard.
Blackie?
Yeah.
For me, a Fete is a feeling. Like it's not like I agree with everything Gino said. I agree with. I completely 100% agree with. For me, it's more like obviously you don't have the hookah and the tables and section all that stuff. I feel obviously being outside. Soca is obviously playing for the entire time. No quick intermission for that Soca. But for me, so once that's established, you have it's just a feeling of like everyone here is enjoying themselves and having a good time. I've had those feelings at my own party, had it at Just So in both Trinidad and New York. I've had it at Mega by far Megas, the whole by far teams events. Obviously I've had it in Trinidad. Duh. I had a couple. I have it in Miami for one event, SSS Blue. I do like SSS Blue. There was like a couple of events where like there was just a feeling, and I was like, oh, this feels like a Fete. That's what I mean by a feeling.
Yeah, that's actually like a really important point. I think when I think about Fetes too, like same thing. I mean, I think of Fetes have to be outside. If it's not outside, I mean, at least a very big space. But at the end of the day, yeah, it have to be outside. That's one, right? I consider like Fetes too, like where you have, if you can have stage, like for sure. At least some type of solid production. Doesn't need to be the greatest, but something to at least give people like some solid sound, bro. Because people need to feel everything. It can't be just some rinky-dink shit, right?
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of that going on here right now.
Yeah, you need to give the people something to at least be able to hear properly and experience the music. But yeah, the third thing to Blackie's point I think is really important is it's a feeling, yes. But it's also, I realize like what Fetes in Trinidad have is the ones that have been the best of the best, they focus really well on promoting a culture and promoting an experience for the patrons.
Yep.
And those are not things that are they just do to be nice. Those are like things that are like ingrained in the culture of when I went to Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival, right? Have we seen things scale back over the years? Yes, like, I've seen events not really deliver the same amenities that they used to, but the core aspects of it remain the same. And I found over the years, like even in Trinidad, like the events that I go to, that list has gone from like so many events to now I could probably put maybe all the events I go to in Trinidad Carnival on one hand. Because after going to so many of them, I've learned which ones give me the Fete experience to like the best that they possibly can in what I'm looking for now, right? But at the end of the day, a Fete needs to be something that brings people together that love soca, and that crowd needs to also be receptive to giving and loving soca the same way. It's the best fetes I've ever gone to are events where strangers don't fucking feel like strangers. Yeah. It's the events where I don't feel like I'm being judged by people around me because I want to jump and wave and run up and down, you know what I mean? And stand on top of a cooler and grab someone and wind up and do, you know what I mean? Just actually be able to experience it, you know? And that doesn't necessarily say that I like wildness and craziness, but it's more so that feeling of freedom, you know? And I don't think we necessarily really get that a lot in New York. And I can't speak so much for like the Brooklyn events because it's more so like more of the Queens events that I've experienced.
Same feeling, yeah.
But it's based on the Queens events, bro. Like I said it in the last podcast too, like I don't always feel welcome in my own community events. And that's why there's like a lot of things I don't always go to here because I don't really feel like people, when they go to these events, understand that and that level of wanting that community and appreciating that level of like having soca and that community of love. It's a community of, you know, showing off, which, as we said from last time, I think really comes from, you know, the whole club scene. Yeah. So I think though, like what you're doing in terms of like having your own events and stuff and what JEL is doing, like I know for sure that there is a market for people that want to experience things the way that we want to experience it too. Like it's never just gonna be like Blackie, you're the only one that wants 100% soca party where like Rich wants that too, Gino wants that too, JEL wants that too. You know what I mean? So I think like on the one hand, while like things here can be like rather hit or miss, there is still like a space for us to like carve out what we want based on the elements of what we really love during Carnival, right? But one controversial opinion that I do have, which like, you know, people like can get a type of way about, is that I feel like a lot of the events that we do here are like, when it comes to calling them fetes, they're not really fetes. They're parties. They're parties or limes, or they're simulations of what goes on during Trinidad Carnival. They try to take the elements and work with it, but at the end of the day, it's never going to be exactly that. I'm not.
That's not controversial at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, people because it's for people here who don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like people here would be like, oh well, if you're saying that and you're from Queens, well then don't fucking come to any Queens events. I don't want to see you there at any of these events.
But that doesn't mean all Queens events are bad.
Exactly.
We just listed one that is pretty has elements from Trinidad.
All any events that take place outside the Caribbean are simulations to the Caribbean. In the Caribbean itself.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's like, you look at, let's just use Miami Carnival, for example. That's a simulation to whatever carnival happens in the Caribbean. Obviously, Trinidad, something like that. So it's not a knock towards the events that happen or the carnival that happen up here. It's just more like, it's just the truth. You can never copy what happens in the Caribbean.
Correct.
Yeah. But now I find, and not to cut you guys' wisdom, but now I find that over here stateside, this party scene, it sets the precedent for outside now. Because we over here simulated the islands, but because stateside has most access to have parties throughout the year, it sets a new precedent. And look at the all-inclusive scene now, how that translates into the islands like Trinidad.
Yeah,
there's so much all-inclusive events. The vibes are completely changed. Then Miami, to go off your point, very similar. Like you'll see the same people go to the same places. You'll see the vibes remain the same. Some people argue that they travel, but they don't feel like nothing changed.
That's true. Because you have different brands now going all over with the world tour.
Yeah.
You have different fetes like a Stink and Nutty or a Brunch and Soca or a Soca Brainwash that's in every single market.
That's a really important point, because it's like what JEL was telling me too, like what happens here and culturally also like feeds back into Trinidad too. Like it's not just a thing where we only see what Trinidad does and culturally try to do things. They also see us in a certain way. And because it's true, I told JEL when I went in January and I stayed at One Woodbrook, I told him, I was like, yo bro, like all these restaurants have hookah now. Like this is pretty wild.
Even a prime example of that, Tailgate in Trinidad. They legit looked at America and said, "Oh, we're gonna try and bring that to Trinidad as well too." That's one event where they clearly saw America.
The Tuesday event, right?
Yeah.
And you know, here's the thing. To me, it's not necessarily the hookah per se that's the problem, as much as it is the way that people, the kind of crowd that come to the events that have these things
And the culture.
around it.
Correct.
Because here's the thing, bro. I smoke hookah. Bro, I will fucking grab a hookah, hold it, and run up and down in a fucking Fete. I don't give it. I'll be fucking having my drink and smoking my hookah, and I will still go up to. I will make my rounds around the party with the hookah and everything. So like for me, I'm someone like I can still enjoy that, right? But what you kind of see in a lot of this stuff is the sectioning of events. I feel like is a big thing that contributes to that scene and that status. Like the first the VIP, then the VVIP, then the VVVVVVIP. Like, bro, let me
They gotta talk about that. They have to talk
I'll give you a
about
perfect example and I'll let them go, right? And we'll talk more about this later. High Lime was one of my favorite events. Everybody knows that. I talk about it a lot, right?
Right.
Some people love it, some people hate it. It just depends on what your preference is, right? I love the luxury aspect of it. But I remember the first time I went to Hyatt Lime, bro, and I heard the names of the VIPs. I was like, yo, what is this, bro? Yo, the first there was General, right? Then I think there was like a VIP. Then I think there was like Ultra. And then I think there was like Diamond. And I was like, yo, this literally sounds like I'm in a fucking strip club right now, bro. Like, this is some wild shit, bro. You guys took stripper names and gave them to the VIP names.
What, General is the name of a stripper? What stripper you know named General?
The cheapest ones. The ones in Miami, Joe.
She can't work there. She general.
Anyway.
Wow.
But yeah, to your point, what were you guys gonna say?
Talk about the visor voice here.
Oh,
Please talk about that.
All right, now.
I just want a good laugh.
I will
Please.
let Gino go on
Gino,
this
go ahead.
one.
This is
'cause-
gonna be funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So, unlike all of you three, I have no direct ties in the industry, so I could call a spade.
Not yet.
Not yet. Anyway, Vibes with Voicey, you two know I am not the person to go in VIP. But Mr. Soca Boss persuaded me to do VVIP. So I said, all right, no
Yeah,
scene.
because, drinks inclusive, your own dedicated bar. It was marketed very well, I must say.
Quotations.
All inclusive
It was
bar.
marketed nice. I did see that. Yeah.
Food,
Quotations.
elevated deck. You get to be closer to the artist, your own entrance. I'm like, yeah, I won't mind because I've been to Vibes with Voicey in a regular setting with our other mutual friend too, and we didn't have the greatest time. So it's like, you know what? Instead of having to trek a mile and a half to the bar, we could actually just have our own bar. So I'm thinking, it's gonna be good because Voice,
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong.
Well, come to find out, so we enter VVIP. I'm looking directly at the camera. We enter VVIP.
Quick question. What does that stand for?
I wish I could tell you. I do not even know.
Very important VIP. I don't know.
Yeah, very, very,
Like,
very,
like-
very important person.
Like who come? Okay.
that's
Keep going,
that's all.
Gino.
Like,
I
yeah.
don't know. Like
I'm still waiting for the important people in that section.
Anyway, we enter VVIP. I look to my left. I see the bathroom trailer. I'm like, all right, cool. I look to my
Yeah,
right.
they also advertise air-conditioned washrooms as well, which is cool too.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're paying for it.
Anyway, look to my
I've
right.
been to so many Vibes with Voices. I understand the standard now because the one in New York is a certain standard,
Yeah.
right? The one in DC is certain standards. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm accustomed.
Well, anyway, on the right side is a giant vendor space.
With two vendors.
Two vendors, and I'm
Two
assuming
food vendors.
right?
Okay.
And we assume
And
in the
our
bar,
food inclusive section.
yeah. So, but we assuming the bar is supposed to be there.
That ain't making sense, but
It is vacant, and then we now see is a doubles man on this side, and there's the next one selling wherever JEL buy to eat.
No, I didn't buy. No, food isn't
Well,
included.
yeah,
I
sorry,
didn't buy
yeah.
nothing.
Anyway, JEL get you food, he go back. They say food done, packing up.
No, that's not true. I actually ate 2 times and I went for a third and then the food get back to me.
So I have a question. Did they say food done, or when you asked him for food, did he go, I don't have.
Might as
No,
well.
they just pack up
They just pack up.
and say they're done.
But then the biggest situation was like, we're like, wait, where's the bar? So then we go up to the elevated deck. There's a portion of the deck that's serving as a bar for the entirety
Mind
of
you,
VVIP.
the bar is smaller than the food section.
Correct.
How? How you have a
The vendor
VVIP?
space is this.
that not making
The
sense.
food people on these two ends of the space. The deck is this small. The bar is here, with everyone in VVIP surrounding this space.
Yeah, needless to say, it really wasn't worth our experience. And I mean, I don't know what happened with the Vibes with Voicey team. They normally have a certain standard.
So you were better off saying in general then.
I was better.
But
Yeah.
and to go to that, right?
Actually, no, because we had friends. Big up Kayla and the whole Antiguan team. They were in general. They waited about the same amount of time we did to get drinks too, in general.
Okay.
So
Either way.
And normally when you go to these events and you buy the largest package, you have free reign to go to different parts of the event, right?
So we could have
told me
gone
this,
in regular VIP or in general. Everything section off. We can't go nowhere. We trapped like an animal in a cage.
That made no sense.
None at all.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the end of the story. Yeah, but
That's that's bad. That's bad.
yeah. So
And current cut twice.
oh yeah. Well, no, current cut once.
Once?
Let me tell you what happened the
Actually,
second time.
I didn't know this actually.
Wait,
Roger Wild.
Like power went out for the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah. It's
Oh
Trinidad.
really? I didn't know that. You're not
Current is just casually
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Anywhere in the Caribbean.
But bro, look, we say that casually, right?
Yeah.
But then, we went to Ambush, and these guys have fucking 5 trucks in the middle of the bush, and none of those times the trucks.
Generator.
I know, but it just goes to show you, like, we could get power and throw a whole fucking Fete in the middle of like the jungle of Trinidad, but we can't get it right. And where was it? Like at a venue?
Queen's Park Savannah.
Queen's Park.
The most iconic place in Trinidad. I mean, granted, yes, it's a giant field of grass. Like sometimes getting power there could be difficult. I could see that, but it's like, damn, bro.
Anyway, one time current cut, the next time Roger Wild said a coup. So, but first of all, I don't know why we had Roger Wild on the cast, but had a coup. Obviously, when you're singing Wild Out and everybody get right. My boy is using obscene language in Trinidad and Tobago. Needless to say, as soon as he uses the cuss word, they get pulled off the stage and all of a sudden young brother pop up.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
So yeah.
That's
I don't think people realize that's what happened, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I did not know that to this day.
Wow, that's pretty wild. I mean, look, that culture in Trinidad too. I mean, a lot of people say people will say it's not what it used to be, and I can understand that because the same way things are kind of, done here or maybe heading in directions that we may not really like. I could see the same issues kind of just happening in Trinidad, but also in other islands too.
I would say
there are
maybe-
some places that I think.
That's maybe more with the commercial fets though. Because
commercial
there are a
fets.
lot of fets that I still think keep the traditions, but they're not popular.
Jam Nation.
Exactly.
Jam
Which one?
Nation. Jam Nation. I will always advocate for Jam Nation.
What do you like most about it?
It is. I said this in a video. It's 95% local and like 5% foreigners because most foreigners don't come down until.
And that's what Rich
Yeah.
likes too.
That's why I
the
love
parties
Jam
he went
Nation.
to this year.
That's why I love Jam Nation.
I want to big up.
Great.
First of all, I want to big up my girlfriend Savannah because she was the one to really put me on to a lot of like the local heavy events. Because before like going to events with her, I was always go to Carnival with JEL, and when we went in 2018, I say this a lot, but and JEL, I want to hear your thoughts too. But I feel like 2018 specifically, and even you could argue 2019 was kind of like a tail end of a certain era that I can't really put into words. Maybe it could just be my perception of it, honestly. But all I will say from like 2018 to 2019 to 2020, and then obviously post-COVID is its own thing, I did see like a lot of changes happening at events where a lot of things were changing. Like demographics were changing, the vibes of people and events were changing. I was starting to feel more of like that kind of status thing.
So I have
when
a
would go to
theory
events.
for that, and it's tied specifically to the price of
Oh,
Carnival.
I was thinking more the pandemic, but
No,
ahead.
because he said 2018, 2019,
Oh,
2020.
okay.
There was even a
He's
change.
talking about the tail end because he
Okay.
mentioned 2018 and 2019. 2020, we still had Carnival, right?
Only one to have Carnival. By the way.
So here's the
no,
thing.
Dominica and
Oh, duh, yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
happened
he
same time.
yeah.
So,
happened
so
same
Jal, I
time.
just want to add further context for you to make your point, right? Like when the first time I ever did Trinidad Carnival was 2018, and I didn't know what to expect because it was my first Carnival experience, which is crazy. Like
that
to
was me.
start
That was
there.
me last year. That was me last year.
It's your first one.
was
You know
me
what I
last
mean?
year.
It's really crazy to start with it, but I did, and we did like event after event. Because wherever Joe was going, like, Joe, just tell me if I could afford it.
Once you survive Trinidad, we could survive anything.
Yo. So it's true though, because that was the first time I ever stayed up 24 hours straight. And the next time that I had to do that was when I worked with a boy, because he like pushes you to the limit.
Marshall.
And I didn't know that I could do that.
I had to be specific. People,
Yeah.
people in the industry just call them boy.
Yeah, we call him boy. Yeah. So
I'm glad you specified that because they would not know.
I'll say like 2018, like like AM Bush actually still happening in the bush, like makes sense. You know what I mean? And like we said, it was I was this was 5-6 years ago. You know, I was a lot younger back then and everything. So in terms of the wildness and all the fun that I was looking for in a party, I got that. But the biggest thing that I loved most about Bush wasn't that it was just this awesome wild party where you could go and just have fun with everybody and wine on everybody. It was more so, again, that feeling of freedom. And it was like seeing how much they invested into it. Like to bring you guys to like this kind of middle of nowhere place, give you a real Juve experience, right? Bring in Bungie Garland on a truck the year he made Bacchanal Water, spur you down, provide food, everything. Like, you know, it was just executed so well. You know what I mean? It's an experience that I don't feel like I didn't think to this day I really haven't had a Juve experience like that wasn't Juve in Port of Spain. You know what I mean? So like when I think about that era and like even from 2018 to 2019, a lot of things had changed. And even like Beach in 2018, still an okay event, but it wasn't actually on the beach, right? But then 2019, I experienced AM Beach there on the beach in Tyreka, and I was like, bro, this is so much fun. I was like, I'm literally on a beach in Trinidad and Tobago. The sun is rising. Like I'm watching Kes the band perform. Like all these people here are like all cool as fuck. I did notice though that the audience was starting to change a lot, because I was starting to see like a lot more people from like New York at the events, which at the time I have no problem with, you know what I mean? But I noticed, I was like, yo, but this is kind of weird, because I feel like in previous years, like I used to see like a lot more local Trinidadians and stuff like that, and the vibe was just a little bit different, you know what I mean? And the whole phone thing was just now, like the whole like people just being on their phones the whole time posting was like kind of now becoming a thing, bro. Because I remember like that's the first time JEL started really talking about it, and I think we went on like Team Soca and we spoke about it and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that was a long time ago. Remember that, right? Yeah. And that was like now just becoming a thing where we started to see that trend of like, yo, like what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Put your fucking phone down and go have fun. And then after that, bro,
you have an opinion on that, Blackie?
I feel like for the whole phone thing, it's a balance. You need to understand, like, for me, I was use Domination as an example. I recorded 2 videos. The ones I posted on Instagram, and then that's it. And that's it. For the rest of the time, I didn't post anything else. Probably occasional, like, quick videos on my story, but, like, for the most time, when I'm having fun at an event, my phone's in my pocket. Yeah. But if events like kind of like so, I've been in parties just like this.
That's the difference. So, you see,
I feel like it depends on the vibe. You don't have no videos. The best
parties have no, bro. That's why I showed you that AM Beach video I showed you. We had like 4 or 5 video clips. The rest of the time, I could not be on my phone because I could care less.
So
about
much vibe.
Yeah. It was. Yo, I'm telling you, it was just on another level, man. And so like when I think about that, when it comes to Trinidad Carnival and like seeing how the scene is also changing, this year by contrast was my first year going in January, and then Savannah was she was like, what events do you usually go to? And I'm like, I went to Caesar's Army, I went to this, I went to that, and she's like, no. She's like, those are events, but the events that like that you see people talking about like on Trini Twitter, which is like very heavily like local Trinidadians, right? Blackie knows.
Yeah.
That side of Twitter, I try to stay away from.
Yo, bro.
Nah, Trini Twitter's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Here's the thing: if they don't,
I'm thinking about Facebook. My bad.
No, that's depressing.
Yeah.
But Trini Twitter, if they,
I'm thinking about the wrong.
If they like it, they like it.
Yeah, if Trini Twitter fucks with you, even if they like you and you say some shit, they'll be like, "Hey, boy, we love you, but what do you fuck?" Blah, 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 and then they'll go back to loving you again. You know what I mean? But Trinidad Twitter is a good source of like information. I'm not on it. Savannah is the one who gives me like all the info about it.
All the bacchanal.
Yeah.
Even down to the beef pie with the maggots in it anyway. I don't know if all this saw that, but that went viral on Trinidad Twitter last week Friday.
I didn't see that.
Someone sent it to me.
I didn't see it. The best though was on Trinidad Twitter when they were talking about Teja's song DNA. when he says, "Look, the moon gone sleeping," and then he's like, everybody thinks he says, "Look, the boat goat sleeping." Yeah, so like that went by, and then Tejo went on Twitter and like made a whole lyric video, right? And it was so funny because we spoke about it this weekend, right? And he was like, "Yeah, you know." So I was telling Tejo, I'm like, "Bro, the funniest part about that whole situation was you went on Twitter and said, guys, I'm saying, look, the moon gone sleeping,' and people commented and were like, no. Tejo, you don't know your own
The
song."
lyrics is what I say it
Yeah.
is.
It's so funny because it got so crazy to where they made AI pictures of a boat. I mean, a goat in an actual boat.
Yeah,
I was like,
saw that.
it's so funny.
No, but no, all that to say that like the local events that I did go to in January were Fete Yard and Fete Gala, and they were really fucking dope, bro. Like Fete Gala is done by Lost Tribe. I forgot who does Fete Yard, man.
No, other way around.
No,
Sorry.
Fete
Yard is Lost Tribe.
No. There's Fete Gala and there's Fete Yard.
Fete Yard is Lost Tribe.
Yeah,
because
Fete Yard
it's
is
some
Lost
Furnace
Tribe.
car park and they transformed the car park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was dope, but Fete Gala, bro. That event is like it's like a red carpet event where like the theme is like everybody like dresses up, and you think like, oh, that kind of sounds like it's gonna be a stush event.
It's not.
Was not because the demographic is like a younger crowd. So even though the theme is like let's everybody dress up, they did it right behind the Queens Park Theater, so it's like a big like kind of like outdoor area.
Queen's Hall? You mean?
The Queens Hall, is that what it's called?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's I've been there one time. I saw a show there one time. I think Tree Canal did like a play there.
Yeah, Queen's Hall.
Queens Hall, yeah. So they do it right behind Queens Hall in the outdoor area, by the Savannah, and yo, it was a fucking vibe, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And those two events really changed my perception. That and what was the other one that happens later on in the year was damn, I forgot what it's called, bro. It'll come back to me.
What's the concept?
I can't remember. It was something on the greens, and I think it happens the same day as a Soca Brainwash. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. What I would say is like for you, Blackie, and like for all you guys, like what do you feel like is the biggest difference between when you go to events where it's like heavily local Trinidadians and when you go to events where it's like mostly people that fly in?
The vibes are different.
You can go, Jim.
Go ahead,
Right, you can go first. 'Cause I'm gonna tie it into
For
something.
me,
else.
it's a distinct difference. Like it's like you can like for example, I went to let's just use Bush as an example, AM Bush, especially now. AM Bush, you can tell it's like, let's be honest, it's like
foreigners.
Yeah, it's foreigners. Like with a couple Trinis there, locals there, but
mind you know we included any foreigners, right?
Yeah, we are.
I know that. But for Jam Nation, it's like you can tell it is literally local. Like everyone's local. And
Go be back and all.
yeah, it's like 5%. Like when I say 5% foreigners, I mean like 5%, which is like really more like 1% for everybody honest with you. There isn't, and it's the vibe there is different. You can tell it's an event that's exclusively for just Trinidadians. And like if you are a foreigner coming there, you better just find a way to fit
Fall
in line, and just don't try to change something that's clearly for locals. And I really like that about specifically Jam Nation and other events, because I plan on doing Trinidad earlier next year. Like I'm probably gonna reach Trinidad. I know it's in March. I'm probably gonna reach Trinidad like February 1st. I'm gonna be there for a while.
Or even if you could go because I now get to see the transformation in the season from January to February. There's a distinct difference. Like you could tell the locals from the foreigners, and even based on how they dress, you could tell, especially when New Yorkers start singing Trinidad, is interesting. You could tell who have the Yankees cap with the white tee and the Adidas slippers, and Trinis will know.
Immediately too.
Especially the vibes in the Fete too. Like you could tell who is there and who understands the culture and who's just there to experience Carnival for the first or second time.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, because my unpopular opinion is this. And big up Rolando and Steven and Happy Papi, they definitely agree with me on this. They live in Trinidad. Trinis also could be very such, you know. Trinis also live in a freaking... Okay, sorry. Some Trinis live in a bubble when it comes to the music. And I'm saying this as a DJ because I also DJ parties in the earlier party season when there's maybe 2% foreigners in the party.
Yeah.
So people, especially this year, didn't know Benderella, they didn't know Rum Sweet, they didn't know a lot of the music that was big outside of Trinidad for Trinidad Carnival.
Yeah.
And it only took for when the foreigners from Toronto, UK, New York, Miami, and everywhere else reach for the songs to get
I'll
big.
take it a step further. The amount of Trinidadians have texted me like, yo, I didn't know you. I didn't know this song out of Lucia, this song out of Vinci, this song out of St. Kitts. I'm like, you guys didn't know this? And I'm realizing that in the States, we know.
And in Canada.
And in Canada.
And in UK.
And UK.
We're
We
exposed
know
to way more soca.
a lot of Trinidadians only know Trini. And it's like, you guys don't think. Like, Grenada's right there. You guys don't think the
25-minute flights.
Yeah. Grenada's right there. Barbados isn't too far either.
Half an hour flight.
So it's like, you guys don't think. Let me just go on YouTube and just listen to Bayesian Soca, Vinci Soca, Grenada Soca. It's like, but I realize a lot of Trinidadians don't.
And it's not like it don't play on the radio. It does.
It does.
Radio listenership is declining, but it's not like they can't find it.
It's literally there. Like, everything's accessible. I don't get it.
I think part of that is the reason we do it, bro, is because we live in a place where our culture isn't the majority, and we kind of have to fight to be able to experience Caribbean culture here in New York. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, it's like I grew up without having Caribbean culture, so as an adult, it's like I really try to like look for it and find it and try to find my way and make it my own, right? I think when you live in the islands where that culture isn't something that you necessarily have to go and find, you're not like always ostracized in a sense
already.
because you're there
Yeah,
already.
you're there.
You know what I mean? So it's
But
like
I will argue, sorry to cut you.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I will argue a country like Grenada or a country like St. Vincent or Antigua,
Don't start with Grenada. I can talk Grenada all day.
but this is my point. They will know, especially St. Vincent. 'Cause I really gotta give props to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They know soca from across the Caribbean. It could
Yeah.
be Trinidad, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua. They know music.
Like, I have a working theory. I personally feel like the reason why Vinci's Power Soca is so great because they watched Trinidad way back in like the early 2010s and said, okay, we're gonna implement that style of Power Soca to our obviously our own version, and Vinci just started building on that. Grenada too, of course, and I feel a lot of people don't realize that, and it's like if people can just start studying more everyone's music as a whole, you can see soca.
I think
get
we'd be a lot further too if we studied everyone's
further.
music and
Yeah.
did more collaborations island to island.
Yes.
well, we see that already, right? Like we see when people try to like blend music and stuff. Like we've seen obviously Dominica and everything like that. We've seen some stuff with the Kumpa beats coming in and people doing like soca Kumpa
Spider,
collabs.
yeah.
2021.
Yeah,
Which is the sounds, but we don't necessarily have the artists to collab.
yes,
Yeah.
So we will take the Bouillon song or the compa song or the Latin sound, but we're not actually collaborating with the artists that are making the music.
And we should.
Because
that will
a
help
lot
it.
of my friends who live in Martinique or Guadeloupe would love to collaborate with soca artists, but they don't know how.
Yeah, I feel like they're the only people we really see do something like that. I mean, Marshall was doing it from years. You know what I mean? Like he was doing Afro beats and soca like went
Before
to Maya,
Afrobeats was even
before Afrobeats
popular.
was even like
2014.
2014.
yeah,
yeah.
like,
Shake It Bam Bam,
yeah,
yeah.
like you know what I mean? I mean,
And
Kes-
even Possess with
Yes.
Lady Blacksmith
Yeah.
Mambazo,
Yeah.
Taking over me, taking over
brilliant,
me,
amazing
so-
song, you know. And I mean, we've seen Cass doing stuff with like Kumpa artists as well and everything like that.
with Jay Perry.
Jay Perry and
Kai.
then
and Kai.
Yeah, and Kai. And I mean, we've seen what is it? Has Neutron done some stuff?
Yeah,
Down
with
there.
what's his name that passed
there.
away?
Yeah.
What's his name? Gino? Begins with a M.
Mike, it's not Michael Byrne. No,
Mika-
no, not Michael Byrne.
Yeah,
Yikes.
it'll come back to us,
It'll
guys.
come back.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Hold on.
It's how it be.
Mika Ben?
Mika Ben.
Yeah. So I think the collaborations, it's not like we haven't seen it. It happens, but I think, yeah, you're right. It does need to happen more.
It happens. It doesn't happen at the scale. Like one thing outside of Trinidad, right? I would love to see an Antiguan and a Vincentian collaborate.
Fact.
I feel like I don't see that. And then,
Yeah.
and it's not like they're far
Mika
away
Ben.
from each other, you know.
Mecca Ben, yeah.
Mika.
Like this year, we finally got to see Black Boy and Jaguar the Champ do a collaboration. The
That
biggest
shoulda
in Bashment
been-
Soca
yeah.
and the biggest in Denry. That should have happened a
It
long
should've
time
been
ago.
happened.
But
I have a lot of collabs that should have happened, but
like, I would even like to see a Burning Flames and a Kess. Like, I would wonder. Granted, yes, they're two bands, but I would still like to hear how that would sound musically,
that will work.
especially as a group with Kess's groovy sound and how the live instrumentation. That should be a collaboration.
Yeah.
I know you want your Kessan Marshall, but
Yes, I want that. It's probably not gonna happen.
I want a Kessan Farmer, bro. I saw the show.
that's attainable.
It is, of course, it's attainable. I was
We know the
watching
person
show.
to make that happen.
I know. Here's the thing: is that I was watching the show at Central Park this
That's
week, right?
interesting. Kessan Farmer.
I think it would murder, honestly.
Especially,
Easily, yes,
especially
yes.
if Red Boys does it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I think it
Farmer
would
only
murder.
does Red Boys.
The reason I said so was because I was looking at the show and I was like, man, I would love to see Uncle Farmer right
Who
here on this
producing this
stage.
answer?
Oh, you're right.
Who produced in the center?
GBM.
Oh yeah. So okay.
No,
yeah.
because you're saying Farmer only does Red Boys, and I'm like, sir.
Yeah, I feel like in sense too.
No,
Mainly, he does Red Boys. I'll say.
Yeah, that's his count.
Yeah, he's used other producers, but Red Boys is his go-to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I first saw when I saw Farmer. It's not like Farmer hasn't performed with the band, like because when Kes did Izui in 2021 at Coney Island, Farmer came on. And Farmer was actually like one of my favorite performances. Reason being is that Backyard Jam done by Kes the band sounds so incredibly good, bro.
I wish Backyard Jam came out the next year.
But then what would we have had to look forward to in 2021? We needed Backyard
Yeah,
Jam.
I know.
Backyard
Even
Jam,
the
bro.
concept, because I don't know if you guys know, this guy shot part of the video.
Yeah, it was the
But we needed it.
Yeah.
The whole concept was based on being in our backyard because we couldn't go out into the public. We had to create we own little lime in COVID.
Yeah. But what was this whole point of this, bro? I lost my train of thought with
Collaborations.
Collaboration is key.
By the
Collaboration
way,
is key.
Kes and Teja, make a song together, please.
I was
Please,
waiting to say that.
please
I was
make
waiting
us
to
all
say
together.
that.
But again, you know who can make
Presentation.
that happen? Tano.
Well, it's gonna happen.
Tano did
It's
Tech Back.
happening, man.
Tano also did
It's
DNA.
happening.
Trust me, it's gonna.
So-
It's happening.
It's gonna
It's
happen.
happening.
Trust me, it's gonna happen.
That's gonna
I
be
could
a
see it
nice
in the works
collab.
happening, man. The other thing too that one important point I want to bring up when it was Blackie was like when you were talking about other islands and their power soca. I find that the islands too, bro. One of the reasons that they're becoming so popular with their music is because they did the one thing, which was like they stayed authentic to their sound without giving a fuck about what the other islands think about their sound.
Vinci Grenada.
Right. So here's the thing, and I mean, like, in when we did our recording, with Classic, we were saying like, okay, Soca being tied to the Carnival season is one of the things that's holding it back because it's a subsidiary of like the business of Carnival, right? But when it comes to the other islands, I realized when they make their soca music, bro, especially when it's Grenada and Vinci, Lucia as well, and just a lot of the other islands and the quote unquote small islands, right? They don't make music for anybody else but their own people, right? And I love that so much because I feel like that's how you get such a true, authentic, and incredible sound in your music, right? And like it's like you said before, like when I we spoke about the last in the last podcast, and I was like, yo, who are we creating it for? And it's almost like creating music for your own people when that's the intention leads to the results that you actually want it to have. But when we study this whole thing of like trying to create music to make it sound good for other people, and we kind of try to like not really create it for our own, where does that lead? Now, in the case of Trinidad, I think it's a little bit more complicated because of like local people versus people outside of that. And because they're two audiences, sometimes I feel like artists kind of struggle in the sense of like creating. Sometimes I feel like there is music that will do. No, there are examples of music that will do well in Trinidad, but not in New York, and there are examples of music that will do well in New York and not in Trinidad.
I feel like we're held, especially when it comes to Trinity Soca, we're held to a much higher standard than Vinci Grenada. So like, it's expected for our music to be great, and if it's subpar, you're gonna hear foreigners talk about it. We know Trinity's gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's like I realize that the standard is much more higher for us compared to Vinci and Grenada.
But then it's also having that balance too, though.
And it's a double-edged sword because, like, being able to, how can I word it? Being able to, I'm trying to think how I want to word it. Like, having the high standard is great because everyone knows, okay, DNA is still running the entire world right now, right?
It's probably one of the most streamed songs in the world.
But on the flip side, it's like, the moment the music is bad, we get bashed, while all the other islands get to just basically do what they want and not really get judged as heavy compared to Trinidad.
Well, I think that comes with Trinidad having the title of the Mecca of Soca, and
You
you know what I mean, and being like the face of soca music.
Hold on.
Well, not
It's
that-
just Trinidad and Tobago, the Mecca of Soca, or the Mecca of Carnival. And I will start this controversial topic because I
I would-
truly believe it.
I
Because
would say we are the creators.
we're the
of
creators
soca.
of soca music.
I don't know if we're the mecca of soca, especially power soca. I've said tons of videos. This is not. I said when it comes to power soca in the Caribbean, it's Vincy Grenada 1. Everyone else is second. I've said that multiple times. This is nothing new for me.
Yeah, they're running circles around us.
Yeah, running circles around us. And the funny thing is, Vincy Grenada watched Trinidad in the back in the early days when power was good, and just implemented, like I said before, implemented to their soca. So as for the mecca.
We're the Mecca of Carnival.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna
definitely.
say-
We're Mecca Carnival.
That's what I was gonna say. Like in terms of Carnival, Trinidad is a mecca, but this is the direction I wanted to go with you when I was bringing up this conversation to begin with, because at the end of the day, when you're talking about having an authentic identity, I don't know what that is for Trinidad anymore. And for me, like the thing with Carnival is, for me, it's
They're gonna clip that one.
No, we're not gonna clip it. That's Gino's opinion.
Gino,
that's my
start-
opinion. Like I said,
Start over.
Start from the top for me.
Yeah.
okay.
Don't think. Just
Don't
go.
Don't think. Just go. Just say it's okay. You guys are scaring my boy. Okay?
You don't have a horse in the race, though. We all have brands.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry.
Well, yeah, like I said, for me, Trinidad will always be the mecca of Carnival, no matter what. But just observing, especially like my young adulthood, the change, like how you're speaking about the tail end of the 2010s. I don't know what Trinidad's identity really is anymore for me, because a big component of Carnival is like competition. Because the whole point of Carnival is like it has a history of rebellion, it has a history of slavery that evolved into what it is now, from Cambule into this modern form. When we had Soca Monarch, when we had all these things where the country rallied to them, like even in the late 2010s, I used to be on YouTube watching Soca Monarch, like feeling that energy. I'm not in Trinidad, but I used to look forward to these things. The music videos, like a boss. The music from back then, that tail end of that climax of the decade, there was a very different energy. Even if you weren't there, even if you were like in high school just looking at Julian's promos, there was a very different thing. There was a very different energy.
Definitely.
So for me now, finally being able to play mass in my adulthood in this new era post-pandemic where we don't have Soca Monarch, the country doesn't really rally to these things anymore. Like competition, no matter what, it plays an integral role in what Carnival is. Look, every year doesn't matter. When the new season starts and we were looking for that music, what we talking about? What's Road March? Even if you don't pay attention to competition, you always talking about Road March. Even if you're not paying attention, you're inherently talking about competition.
And competition is a good thing too.
Yeah,
It's
it brings
not-
out the best in our
exactly.
artists.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And producers and writers.
Like
by
I've heard
extension.
some arguments where like people feel like Road March is too competitive, or it's like no, competition brings out the best in you.
Carnival is competition.
And it's not like it's like
Yeah,
a
we have
bit right. It's friendly competition.
Banner of the Year,
Banner of the Year,
Road March,
Kings and
Panorama,
Queens.
Kings and Queens.
stick fighting.
It brings out the best in you. It's not a bad thing.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, they better not go the route of everyone gets a fucking participation medal, bro.
Hell no.
We are not fucking doing that shit in Soca.
I don't think that'll ever happen for Road March.
So here's the thing.
Even with cricket, right? Like, let's outside of Carnival, and you want to talk about Trinidad and Tobago's culture, let's talk about cricket. In cricket, somebody had to win and somebody had to lose, right?
It's just that simple.
We will still lime and party the same way we would lime and party for Carnival, but for cricket, so there has to be competition.
And we have, like, 'cause we have to have something that matches like what Carnival is. Like it's a celebration of freedom.
Yeah.
What you gonna do to match that kind of feeling? Competition.
Like look at Grenada Soca Monarch.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the artists are
everybody
cool. They're
and
cool.
the whole everybody in Grenada in the
Exactly.
stadium.
And all the artists are cool, but when it comes to Soca Monarch, they compete. It's like they go
bro,
at it.
and their performances are top notch,
That's
bro.
why I
Like,
can't-
Big up
I
Boise.
yeah, I was just gonna say, yo, 2018
Like,
Boise, the intention,
like-
bro. When I saw the police, I tell this story every time. I saw the police holding back that fence, bro, and they had the police hitting a guy and everything, and they're like, I don't give a fuck. They pushing back the fence, and you could just see, bro, their music does something to people.
I can't
That-
wait.
and you
to go
could
to
see
Grenada.
it. What does it do? It makes them rebel. Like,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? It gets them together and they rebel and they free. It's like the music has a jummy that just lets you free up your inner self. You know what I mean?
And even in context, not to cut you wisdom, look what win Road March this year. In Ode to Trinidad, DNA. So just reminding you to remember that. And it won.
Freedom and with DNA.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but for me, we've been losing that in like this last recency of what, maybe like 6 years. and I don't understand that.
Post-COVID, I think we really lost something. I haven't been able to put a finger exactly
but
on what
COVID's
it
part
is.
of it. It's not just
No,
solely
it's not 100% because of COVID, bro. But there's a difference in energy and feeling and messaging and narrative from 2019, even the beginning of 2020, right before COVID hit, to now. I just feel like it's not that the music is bad. The music is good.
We're talking about Trinidad, right?
I'm talking about Trinidad.
Okay.
I feel like there's just something missing, and like I've been talking like with Kendricks about it, and like I haven't been able to like 100% figure out what it is. But I feel like there was a passion in a lot of Trinidadian like soca music and carnival culture like pre-COVID that there's an essence or something, man, that I feel like is missing, and I'm going to Trinidad each year, and I'm still trying to like figure out what it is, but. It could be a number of things. It could be economy. It could be, I don't know.
The commercialization
of mass.
America's influence on TNT.
Yeah.
Because you want to open a Starbucks every 15 minutes.
Yo, by the way, not to cut you. Yo, Rituals. What's it called? The
way
chiller?
Rituals
Yo,
is way better than
the fucking
Starbucks.
chillers from Rituals. Yo, I had that for the first time ever this January. And I remember I was talking, I took one sip, and I stopped, and I was like, yo, this fucking shits on a Frappuccino from Starbucks, bro. This is like one of the best things I ever had, yo. Big up to Rituals for real. And they still have cozy-ass couches for you to sit on.
Yeah.
You know, they don't use architecture as a way to try to fucking
And it's a
get you out
Caribbean,
of
and
there.
at the end of the day, it's a Caribbean brand. Did we really need a Starbucks?
No,
No.
not
But
at all. Really.
Starbucks will win because the customer service, ironically, in Trinidad and Tobago, is top tier. Yeah, that sounds ridiculous as I'm saying it, but it's true. Out of all the things to have best customer service in the Caribbean, it's Starbucks and American Airlines.
Speaking of customer service, we need to work on customer service in the
Bro,
Caribbean.
Jel and I have been
Like-
saying this since
like-
2017
like-
to now, bro. And
Like,
we've got
our customer service is garbage.
it's not just Trinidad. It's
It's
the
the entire
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
I'm talking about the entire
Because
Caribbean.
I could give you I could give you a Catition story. I could give you a Vincentian story. I could give you a Lucian story. Any story you want.
I could give
Jamaica,
you Guyana
Barbados,
story, bro. Bro, I had to.
and Barbados is
Yo.
built on tourism. How
Blackie.
is your customer service trash?
Blackie,
I
I
don't-
bribed a head of immigration in fucking Guyana to get my fucking drone back, bro.
Do people
Imagine
understand?
that.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I literally met with the guy, gave him chocolates.
Sir, do you
and
want to
perfume for his
impersonate? Wait,
wife.
do you want to impersonate
I said-
yourself of a crime in
No,
Guyana?
That's not a crime in Guyana. That's just everyday living, bro. But you think this is true?
Careful, you end up like Christmas list, you know.
I'm being
Next
for
thing when you
real.
land in Chedi Jaigan International Airport, they're like,
I'm gonna see the same guy. He's gonna be like, "I heard you talking about me," and then I'm gonna have to bribe him again. Like,
Like, I just don't understand. Like, treating people good as giving you money should be a basic thing. It's simple. Like, if someone's paying X amount of dollars for whatever service, why are you treating them bad? Especially when it comes to carnival costumes and stuff, that whole process. I don't understand why some bands treat their patrons bad when it's like, just treat them well, especially if they're giving you X amount of US dollars, because to be honest, it is US dollars. Why are you treating them so bad? I never understood that concept. Treat people good, especially when they're giving you money. That's always been my thoughts.
all right, I wonder if we have that mentality because we live in the States, though. Do you think that's a US, Canada, UK mentality, or is that just a treat a human being well mentality?
I mean, I feel like
Because at the end of the day, I feel like, yes, we do get poor service in the Caribbean, but then there's also that warmth that the Caribbean has as well. So is it... Because I'm not going to say all the service I get in the Caribbean is bad.
not all the service in Caribbean is bad as all. It's actually when I went to Trinidad, majority of the service, I only had one bad experience where the service was like, could have
KFC?
been better. No, actually, it was Royal Castle, ironically. No. And I love Royal Castle, by the way. It was one person I was like, it could have been better, but I feel that's more of a human being thing. Because even in the States, I've had certain situations where the customer service was shaky, and it's like, why is it such a simple, hard thing to understand? I don't get it.
I think part of it, bro, is that Caribbean people have a problem with roles that they perceive to be like subservient.
And that has a lot to do with our colonial
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
slavery and indentureship
Because it's
history.
really mostly in those roles, like when I interact with people, that I get like the most like pushback on. It's like food vendor, like someone at a restaurant, or someone trying to sell me a beer at a bar, or like roti shops in Queens are perfect examples too, right? You get pretty Caribbean customer service there, bro. Sometimes
Jamaican restaurants.
You literally
In Brooklyn.
Not just in Brooklyn. It had a place in Toronto, man.
You gotta tell me where. So I can go next.
Don't worry, we'll talk off camera. But I don't know. I really feel like and the thing is, we shouldn't be treating each other like this though in the first place. Big up my mentor, Colette Burnett, as well. She's a big proponent of customer service in the Caribbean, and she's like open up businesses to help fix that problem. But I think it comes back to how we treat each other, and if we don't have respect for each other, then how we can have respect for the strangers and stuff that we serve.
I do believe that can get fixed in the Caribbean pretty easily.
So
I shouldn't say easy, but can get fixed.
Well, good customer service exists in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it does exist. It does exist.
If I could find a
it should
Starbucks
be
that
more
has
consistent.
it, and a KFC that has it, and then posh restaurants in the West that have it, make up the rich people, that have it, right? It can exist for the rest of the country. And for the rest of the region by extension.
Yeah, perfect example is like when I first went to, not when I first went, but when I went to Guyana for Guyana Carnival in 2019, I stayed at the, I did stay at the Marriott for a little bit. And I got
cut you off. When is Guyana Carnival?
I don't know, bro.
No, so
I stopped going.
No, it used to be Republic Day weekend, which is in May, but now it's merged with the Cricket Carnival. So now it's the first weekend in October.
Okay.
So for cricket, they now have a carnival associated with
Really?
cricket.
Is that late in the year?
Yeah. Because it was clashing with Atlanta and Orlando, and they couldn't.
The first time I ever went,
first week,
it would have been the same time as when we went to Orlando this year.
Got it.
Okay.
Because Republic is Republic Day or is it Independence Day? No, it's Independence Day. Sorry, guys, it's Independence Weekend in Guyana.
Okay.
So that May, that's when it was, and now it's in October.
I would go again just to see if it's changed over the years, because the first time I went was 2019. It was the year they brought Buju in for the I Am Legend show.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was interesting. I don't want to go too into it because
Blackie, Guyana's a different country.
I'm realizing
and they love dancehall and reggae more than soca. I think dancehall, reggae, and chutney are the top.
I was chutney, bro.
I thought chutney's one.
Chutney is number one, bro.
Yeah.
Chutney is number one.
Soca's probably third.
Fourth.
When it comes
chutney,
to
dancehall, reggae, soca.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Chutney,
not that
dancehall,
soca is
reggae,
not
soca.
consumed, because I know watching my stats, I have fans in Guyana. It's not.
Nah,
as
they love
popular.
Cass, bro. They will go crazy.
They love
for
Cass. They love
Cass,
Marshall.
yeah.
They
and
love Destra.
Destra, yeah.
Yeah, they love Destra, bro.
Destra makes she money in Guyana,
Yeah.
and now she gonna make more oil money.
If she decides to become a citizen of Guyana, I'll trade her for her Trinidadian passport, where I'll take that shit in a heartbeat. Trying to get that dual citizenship, but
You don't want a Guyanese passport? Well, they have oil now,
Plenty, actually.
Plenty.
I don't think I have the right connects to benefit from it. That's the only thing. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be a tycoon in 50 years.
Plenty Trinis will trade you right now for their trading pass to go Guyana. So
Yeah. But when I stayed at the Marriott there in 2019 during Guyana Carnival, it was actually really funny. I was sitting by the pool, and a woman came up to me and she was like, "Excuse me, sir, can I get you anything to drink?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Is there anything you recommend?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is really good." And then she came back with the drink, and I spoke to her, and I was like, not to knock any of the other businesses and establishments I've been to around here, but I grew up in the States. My parents grew up. My mom's from the West Coast, my dad's from the East. And I told her, I was just really blown away by your level of customer service. If there's a survey, I'd like to give you a really great review, because everywhere I've gone to so far has been pretty shit. And she started laughing, and I was like, what is it about here that that? And she's like, yeah, believe it or not, the customer service is actually a big priority in our training. So that's really, I think, where it comes down to when it comes to big establishments or just establishments in general. It really has to be made a priority in training, and I don't think a lot of places in the Caribbean have the proper training on customer service. That's why you only find it in big chains, like hotels and resorts that have the years of experience of delivering that. So it's not it's impossible to do,
which is wild to me, because we have UE, the University of West Indies, and Trinidad used to have the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality Institute, but they closed it down. But even when it was open, I find customer service was still shitty. So I don't know what purpose they were serving. But you know what it is, actually? is the lack of accountability. We as a people don't hold each other accountable for shit. Whether it's with customer service, crime, corruption, anything, mass, we don't hold anyone accountable. We will bitch and complain about it, and then the following year we going back and patronizing them. We don't take a stand.
That's the thing I never understood, bro. Like,
Makes you look hypocritical.
Especially when it comes to Miami Carnival, bro. We see the same shit all the fucking time, and I'm like, bro, bands will fuck up. People get vexed with the bands, blow up people's comment sections, go on rants, put it on the Follow Soca page, do everything they possibly can.
Spend your money for that exact same band.
Yep. Like, why do you guys do
Big
that?
up freaks.
Like, I don't understand. Why do you guys do that?
I just don't.
Hey,
Joe.
I don't have a horse in the race. Big up these bands.
I never get that. Like, you're complaining, but you're still gonna put your money down for that exact same band that you complained about last year.
I don't.
So I can't blame band leaders for being like, yeah, we don't care about you. You're gonna come back next year anyways.
But I think I spoke to you, Angela, about this before. Like, the thing with mass is, like, I remember 22 with that crazy rainstorm that lasted for half of the road.
Was that the
That
year?
was the year.
that was the year I did
Yeah.
the video, the in the water video for you guys. That worked in your advantage, by the way.
Like, the thing
That should have been road match that year.
It should have been.
How nasty a place.
Hey.
No,
It wasn't called that.
What was it called?
Insurance, yeah. Insurance win road match. Insurance 2022.
Everybody want to know when Problem sang insurance. I'm watching this.
No, but the thing with mass is, like, because it's such a extreme point of euphoria for people, it's like we get amnesia once we're on the road. All the problems, everything that happened beforehand, you don't care anymore once you're there. So when it comes to distribution, the constant problems with picking up your costume, not even getting a costume.
You know what?
Your costume falling apart when you walk into your car.
You know what's crazy? How do we don't have a customer service hotline for different bands? Like for a band in general. Like, why is there not a number you can call and say, yo, I have an issue with X amount thing. Why we don't have that yet? That's one thing I never understood. I'm talking about like big bands, like let's just go to the Caribbean real fast. I'm shocked like a Tribe doesn't have one yet. Even a Human is like, y'all have the funds. We know y'all have the funds to have a customer service hotline where it's dedicated people answering the phone to address the issues you have with your costume, your whatever. That should have been happened.
At least what I saw when I did costume pickup with Bliss last year was what it is that when you go for the pickup, right? They give you your box, right? When you get the costume and everything, they usually double check it. So someone will give it to you. They'll open the box, go through it, and be like, here you go. Then before you leave, you have to take it to a quality assurance check. So this was the first time I ever actually had to do this, which was last year.
This is interesting.
I
never heard of this before.
with Bliss that happened. We
I
played
never heard
in
this before.
I forgot the name of the section, but Humsey
It wasn't
did
the
costume.
absolute fact section.
No, it wasn't absolutes. I did House of Bacchanal, that one. We went to the quality assurance check. A girl opened the box and she saw, she was like, actually, like, no, this one thing is missing. You need to go back and tell them this is what you need.
That's good.
So then we went back and then, big up to Humsey, the designer. Really, really, not just an amazing designer, but also just a really incredible person. We went back and Humsey, like, personally came and he went and he, like, looked at, what was going on with the costumes. And he came, right up to Savannah and stuff. He looked at my costume. He's like, "Yeah, Rich, you're good." And then he looked at Savannah. And he was like, "No, like, you need some strings. Like, this isn't like, there's no reason why this should be missing." So he went and he got some extra stuff for her. And then he showed her, like, "Yeah, you have to tie this like this, do this like this, do this like this, do that like that." And then we were on our way. I think that year there were some issues with the costume, which I don't think it wasn't Humsey's fault at all, as much as there were, like, production issues from wherever the band was sourcing it from. And he did the best that he could. So, like, when the day of came and stuff like that, or sorry, during the costume pickup, he stayed back and he like pretty much like had the people put on their costumes and everything in front of him. And he was like, "Okay, well, this is what you need. You need these strings. Let me run in the back." And he was literally just like MacGyvering shit. Like, "Yo, this is missing. We can't go and get it from the source. So, like, I'm gonna get material and, like, make it on the spot and, like, make this work." You know what I mean? I do think what needs to happen though in the carnival scene, so along with the hotline, is we need to fucking see better and more clear instructional videos on how to put on the costume.
Especially for women.
Especially for
Especially
women.
for women.
Especially for women.
Especially for
Bro,
women.
I
Men is easy. Let's be honest. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. hard.
And
I
let's-
struggle with it, but
And
I
9 out of 10 times it's labeled.
Yeah.
Chest piece, neck
But
piece.
for women, it's
No.
it's
Yeah, they have a whole
Woo!
contraption to
What
put
you mean
on.
gel nowadays is just a fucking shorts and a cup?
Okay, first of all,
Remember when that shit used to come standard with our costume?
Yeah.
Headpiece, bro. The first time
Now
I
we
played
have to
Mass
pay
in
for the
Bliss, 2018,
add-ons
Not
in
that long ago.
Trinidad.
Not that long ago, bro. Gino, it was standard to get the headpiece, the arm piece, and the belt piece, and the leg pieces for one price. I got the whole thing. You know what I mean? And
Now it's just add on.
yeah,
a
bro.
headpiece,
Now
but-
they charge.
And it's not no cheap add on too.
It's
It's
not no
like
cheap
But you
add-on.
know why
50
though?
US.
Because they stereotype men, right? They think that all we really come to do, although it's kind of true, is play mass
yeah, it's true.
and just have a cup and a wristband and a shorts and we good.
See what I can speak for
But
myself.
some men actually prefer to wear costumes,
Yeah,
as
I
I've
can speak for
noticed in the
myself.
market now.
Yeah.
I'm not putting on a headpiece, but when I go to play mass, I want to play mass. I want to be in full costume.
Yeah, you can speak to this most because I'm slowly transitioning.
Well, I
out of
know
the
you.
whole
I
costume.
know you.
Whole
I know you.
costume thing.
But me, I can attest to myself. I go in full kit. But the
Yeah.
thing with headpiece is like now it's running like 300 US more just to get a headpiece for a male costume. It doesn't make sense.
But the question is, why is the production cost so high?
I don't. Well, here's the thing: the production cost I don't feel is really the thing that costs a lot because, bro, you can't tell me when I put on a headpiece that 30 minutes later the whole shit is falling apart. This shit is literally like it's like a 5-year-old fucking glue this shit together, right? I'm telling you, and
Well,
I
it's
noticed
China.
it from 2018
It's
to
China
now.
doing the production. eh?
Yeah, of course, right?
We know it's China.
I can tell you that, like,
No,
Yeah.
I mean, of
based
course.
on my experience
Where
at Mars.
else is it coming from? You know what I mean?
So
So
that's the main issue, and I've talked to him about this. So my first mass experience in 2021 when I went to Miami. So what you're just bringing up now, I had that full conversation with him. So these were points I was bringing up since back then. Now I see bands are starting to do it now. So I know Rory, he managed to play mass. I told Judd that
Big
should
up
be,
him.
Big up Rory.
I talked to him
Rory,
at the
right.
Carnival convention.
but I feel that should be the new precedent for business in Carnival.
Yeah.
Like we should have our own profiles. Bands should have their own like sub pages on this one
Gino,
cloud
Gino,
platform.
start over. Big up Rory is where you left off.
Right, but play mass, like I feel that's essential for the business of Carnival for the future. We should have a cloud-based system where bands could upload their own pages. They have like all automation integrations are done on the back end where they could add the payment options. There should be a resale platform that's confirmed through the bands. All the data is tracked for every transaction. Like you could go to a band's page and say, I want to resell this costume. They confirm it, and then both persons that are initiating the resale is confirmed, so they have it on a transaction log. Things like that. Like this is where
So there's no scam involved either.
right. Like
Yeah.
we are very
Because we don't have a platform for that. That's
That's a
trusted and
Yeah.
secure to do so. Because
Like
what we
with
have is
business?
what? Finaban.
Finaban.
And it's all these scammers there.
Scammers
so
in there.
big up Rory and the Playmass team because honestly, it's something that our industry needs.
Yeah.
The precedent for business is like it needs to level up. Like as you said with the instructory on videos, I told him the same thing. I said it doesn't make sense that women don't have videos to know how to put on a costume.
there's not even a booklet, bro. Like to tell them how to put it on. It's like you have to reference the photos.
The
And
photos.
here's the thing: like when it was Carnival last year, like bro, I spent 3 hours helping Savannah put on that fucking costume, bro. We were cutting strings, adding strings, doing what we could just to kind of get everything to fit together. And this is not like no regular commodity, bro. This is something people are paying thousands of dollars for. You know what I mean? It's not something simple, you know. And I do think along with that, it's important for the bands to have a personnel on the road to help fix people's costumes on the road.
Costume
Like someone
malfunctions, yeah.
dedicated just
Someone
to fix that.
dedicated.
Yeah.
Like I think that's such an important thing, and the only people I've been seeing doing it are designers who really care. So like on the day of like it's pretty normal for me to see like Humsey on the road going up to people and like retying their costumes right before they cross stage, adjusting things for them, helping them put things in place and stuff. That aspect of mass still needs to be kept, but to help women with their costumes, there needs to be a lot more instruction, and I feel like it needs to be like good quality produced videos, like step 1, like do this, step 2, tie this here, step 3. You know what I mean? And then have alternatives like, and I think it should come with like a little like a kit of like extras, like extra strings, extra bands, extra this, extra that, just in case like something's not fitting correctly. You can do it. Granted, they're supposed to do. They do that.
They're
on
supposed
site.
to do that on site
On
at
site
the
for
mass
you when you
band.
pick
it
it up.
shouldn't be
When
hard.
you pick up your costume.
And it should be hard. You could just have the models literally like talk in the video and show them how to put on the actual costume. So,
Yeah.
especially when they're doing the shoots and stuff like that, it shouldn't be hard to do that.
Yeah.
One time, quick minute video, even 30 seconds.
But here's
put
the
on a costume.
problem, and now that I'm on the back end and experiencing it firsthand, I realize there's a major issue. If your production does not come back in time, you don't have the time to do the video. So the real question now becomes, because mass has become so commercialized and it's so expensive to produce costumes in the US or in the Caribbean, and it's being outsourced to China, is that why these things don't exist?
I think.
Could we have a hotline when our costumes are coming 2-3 days before the
But not
costume
even a
pickup
hotline,
day?
like what Rich said about what you call it? You call it quality control?
Yeah,
Quality control.
Quality.
That's
yeah.
a form of
Quality
hotline.
control.
That works, yeah.
That's a form of, I guess, hotline service.
You know our mutual friend at Casey Costumes Couriers.
Yeah.
She's picking up costumes on behalf of people.
Which is
So my thing is, if someone's picking up on behalf of, for example, let's say Nisha.
right.
Nisha paid Casey to pick up her costume. How is Casey doing quality assurance for this costume if she's not Nisha and Nisha is a different size to Casey?
I guess she probably has to know what costume it is.
In terms of sizing, you're not going to be able. There needs to be a disclaimer or like a notice that's saying, "Hey, in case you have sizing issues, like you need to come back with it. So it'd be best if you come in person." But there still needs to be the instructional video because yes, the costume. There's a chance it may not fit, but if they give them their measurements and everything correctly and stuff like that, it should theoretically, right? But that's why the instructional part is still so important because if the person receiving the costume knows how to put it on correctly and there's still issues, then it's like, okay, well then, I need to get this taken care of. But most of the times, like, I feel like a lot of it comes down to like, sometimes like fitting isn't always the issue. Is it a major issue? Yeah. But I think a lot of it also has to do with like, the more complicated costumes get, like, the harder it is to like actually figure out how to like put it on and
the
stuff.
front,
Yeah, I
the
wanted
front
to-
lines, the ultra
Front
front
lines.
lines.
I wanted to bring up
That's
that
where it
point.
gets
Yeah.
complicated.
Because I could speak for Yuma this year because I played in the psychedelic section. I never seen a male costume have so much pieces in my life. Like it had maybe like 16 pieces. I didn't even wear all of them.
Yeah.
Wait, you had 16 pieces in your costume
It
this
would-
year?
I open up that box, it just piece after piece after piece after piece. And it's just extra add-ons that are unnecessary to me personally.
And for context, Blackie, Gino, and I all played in Yuma this year.
Big up Yuma.
Big up the Yuma team.
Oh, you too?
So there
But
are
you had
male
6.
costumes.
You wore all 6. You didn't wear all 16.
No. But in context, there are male costumes now that are kind of hard to put on because I'm studying this thing. I'm looking at the picture. I'm studying this thing. I'm like, one, why has all these pieces are here? I'm looking at the picture. It don't even look like all those pieces are actually a part of the costume.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So I wonder, like, because I actually really want to play with Lost Tribe. I think I'm gonna do it 2 years from now.
Very specific days.
You're very specific.
Yeah, no, I want to give it a try. Reason being is that
They're more traditional, right?
they're a little more traditional.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be playing like with some like older family members who like haven't done mass like since Peter Minshall days. So like I want to get them.
You
Yeah,
went
for
back.
real.
That's going
Man
back.
say pizza mention.
You
I'm
going
serious.
back.
Like 70s,
We
80s.
going
Yeah.
back. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for real. Like I have like older family members, who are like in their 50s and 60s that like want to come back to like, do mass to like celebrate it with like some of the younger generation. And I feel like the only band where they're gonna feel most comfortable in out of the tribe bands is gonna be Lost Tribe because the costumes are much more like traditional.
I'm surprised more bands are not like Lost Tribe.
Well, here's
There's
the thing.
paparazzi.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course, paparazzi. But
But
outside
it-
of them two, I
but
don't
in terms
see
of like,
much of that.
but bro, look, there was an amazing documentary that I saw. Right, it's not Masked Man, it's another one. I think it's called Paradise Lost.
Paradise, the one you said.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Me and Gino had like a whole conversation about it. So this year, Peter Minshall, they had a whole exhibition, like in the what's the name of the museum, bro? He had a whole museum exhibition. I forgot. It's one of the historic buildings right by the Savannah. It's like all wood on the inside. It has a wooden staircase going up to the top and everything. I'll find it later and I'll send it to you.
Not curiosity, right?
No. I don't remember. But in any case, they had the exhibition, and in the screening, like they pretty much went through the whole history of his costumes. It was really dope, and they had a documentary playing on the upstairs. And I went, and bro, it was literally him talking about Paradise Lost, and they had footage. Like that was the most mind blowing part to me, is like how much footage they had during this time where like where like, you know, cameras and stuff wasn't like what we have now. And
I mean, real fast.
yeah.
Just side note, I wish we need more documentaries.
Documentation.
Yeah, more documentaries. That's a market that nobody has tapped into, and I want to tap into that eventually. But go ahead.
No, 100%.
No, I
Like,
agree.
Yeah, documentaries.
That's on my long-term goal
Yeah,
list.
that's one
It's
of my
just
goals
getting
too.
the time to.
Yeah.
because
I
I
would
remember too to fund it because all this shit that you see. Oh wait, no one's really seeing it. But all this equipment is expensive.
and it's
Well, the good news is like if we were to do something, like I own everything, so it's like we could do it. It's just more so actually getting
Getting
the
the
people.
time and
Like no, the
resources.
for a project like that, 100%, I would block out a whole month if I had to. Cause
Oh, really?
Really?
I
care
have
about
two.
it that much.
I have two pictures.
Okay, well, we'll talk about
We'll
that.
talk about it offline
You guys
then.
may or may not see a podcast, a documentary
I have
produced
a
by
whole
all of us.
Soca documentary
Me too.
in my mind.
Oh well, then we
Yeah.
need to talk.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, like, so the Peter Mitchell thing there, bro. Like, I encourage everybody to watch this documentary, Paradise Lost, because, bro, when you see like what it was back then, we only hear stories from our parents, and the stories are always the same. Oh yeah, mass is not what it used to be, and all your young
By the
people
way,
don't
And when
Let that
Mitchell was
go.
doing mass,
Yeah.
it was real costume and
Like-
not the little bikini.
yeah.
Like-
But when I saw it, like when I saw the footage and I heard Peter Mitchell explaining it, and I saw how the mindset and the culture and how everything was different back then. But when I saw the presentation of the costumes, and I saw how everyday people crossed that stage, and how artistic and how much thought went into the costumes and the themes, I was mind blown, bro. I really was. Like, I actually like teared up while I was watching it, because I was like, fuck, like I get it now. Like, I get what this generation was talking about, and I see it. And I feel like the closest thing we have to that nowadays is actually Val with Lost Tribe.
Lost Tribe,
Yeah.
It is a really incredible thing, because people will look at the costumes who are like, you know, for all of us, we've been used to the bikini and feather costumes forever, right? And people would look at their costumes and be like, dude, this is weird. Like, I don't really know about this, and blah, blah, blah. But
And the fact
yeah.
that calling it weird, it's like, no, this is before the whole bikini.
This was normal.
This
Yeah,
was
this was-
normal.
this was
no,
normal before.
You're used
all
to
of
the
it.
bikini. That's
Yeah.
why. But this was normal.
And from their perspective, what we're doing is weird. You
Yeah,
know what
which
I mean?
is-
It's like, because there is no theme anymore, bro. Like,
Nah, it's not.
there is no theme. There are little elements, and there are ideas, and there's little things and things. Maybe a long sleeve, or they might modify something or do
And
something
then
like
even
that.
the stage crossing and the judging points. Because
Yes.
one thing I realized too, and I know our band didn't do the greatest job this year in Trinidad, is the logistics when it comes to the judgment points. Will we really be able to judge fairly on our presentation? Because from a road logistics standpoint, it's hard to get everybody to cross, let alone in their section.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and I would argue this, right? Is there even a presentation? Because I don't think there is anymore.
In theory, there is, right?
Yeah.
But it's not executed the way it
For
should
certain
be
bands, there
because
is.
Yeah.
they
I would
fall
say.
short. And also, certain bands don't go in certain parts. I can only speak for Port of Spain. I
Yeah.
can't speak for South, unfortunately. They don't go to certain judging points in Port of Spain to be judged anymore.
When I say that there's no presentation, I should clarify. I find when it comes to the majority of just like okay, let's excluding Lost Tribe, right? Let's take a lot of the other bands. What do you do when you get to the stage? It's like everybody just runs and jumps. If you're playing in some of the commercial bands like Bliss and Pure, bro, people on their phone the whole entire time. So like, it's not even like a proper presentation to me.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that Lost Tribe wins Band of the Year the same way that Mitchell did year after year, and it's because there's intention and they care about the presentation, and the people playing in the band care about presentation, right? When you see Paradise Lost, one of the aspects of Paradise Lost was it had to do with like the pond and the sea, and like Mitchell literally read the whole story of Paradise Lost and the themes of that, you know, in the Bible and Adam and Eve, and this and the whole theme was this garden. And how do you now take this garden, which is supposed to be literally paradise on earth, and convey that, right? And one of the things he did was like he literally had the people like wearing like fish heads, like that he made out of, and he explained what material he made it out of and why he used that and not this, because he was struggling with this other material. And they were all just like moving like together in unison, and he gave them these flowy outfits to simulate fish and water. And back then there were no DJs, everything was live band.
Ooh.
And when I saw that, bro, and I saw the way that people were crossing, and like you literally saw people like applauding and clapping and crying, and they're just like they got the theme. And that's the thing. It was like a theatrical presentation. I feel like we don't really do theatrical presentations as mass bands anymore.
In Trinidad.
Like
Brazil.
yeah,
I think
that's a whole nother game.
They
that is
got
next
it.
level.
The moment before the stage
Yeah.
is I feel it's better than actually crossing the stage.
Yes.
In
The
2023,
anticipation.
Oh, like leading up to it.
Yeah, I
The
had a clip.
anticipation, yeah.
I had a clip. I'll show it once this is uploaded. It's a clip of me recording, and that moment before the stage is probably I was catching
What
goose.
was this? Which carnival?
This
was
was 2023 Yuma. And
yes,
I
ma'am.
remember,
His pause raise.
yeah, I was literally like, "Yo, why is my pause raising like this?" It's such a moment that once you get on the stage, it's kind of like, okay, the stage, we're at the stage. But that moment before the stage, when you see security right in front of you, and they're not letting you get past them, it's a special moment. It really is.
Yo.
That was nice. This year wasn't the same feeling, but last year in 2023, oh my gosh, that moment was. I have that clip saved in my phone forever.
That's how I feel about 2019 with Savannah Grass versus Family. That
Yo, I crossed the stage real drunk that year with JEL, but I remember right after we got off the stage.
we got bun off. We got bun
Yo.
up by the sun that day
Yeah.
too.
JEL was like,
Oh, that happened to me last year too. My back, cause
Son.
yeah.
so no matter how much melanin you have, bro,
I didn't wear a shirt for 2 days straight.
don't matter
So-
how much melanin you have, you get in
2
sunburns.
days
in
straight, I didn't wear a
Trinidad, bro.
sun.
Don't
I didn't wear a
matter.
shirt, so my back
Literally.
was just gone.
Don't
But-
matter. But yeah, Gino, tell us about how your thoughts on crossing the stage.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate to have crossed both stages, so the Savannah,
Savannah.
and the Soca Drum. So for me,
That's 2 separate experiences too.
I mean, but that's an experience I've been waiting for the past 6 years. But the walk up to the Savannah with Yuma, I don't like it. It was just very off. Everything was off. I didn't feel that emotion that I've been building up for so long. And then when we finally reached that point where we were waiting to cross the stage, when we went to cross the stage, I'm looking around like not a lot of people are matching the energy that I had all this time, because it's supposed to be the climax of this celebration. And that kind of hurt me to have experienced
Yeah,
that.
you told me that.
And it did
He was
drag
very
through-
vocal about it.
Yes, he was.
You should be.
And it did drag through the day, but the Soca Drum did make up for it. So that feeling
Yeah.
I was waiting for, I got it from the Soca Drum. But the Savannah is the Savannah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the
So
case.
you want to hear the story behind that? And I could tell you, the owner of You must feel strongly about this too.
Which one?
Pot.
I have to ask you. You know this too. That's what I'm saying.
Sean.
Okay, big up Sean. Right.
Big up Sean, the owner of Yuma. So the reason why the tribe monopoly of bands and Yuma crosses the Soca Drum stage is because of that congestion in the Savannah. So what Gino is explaining is actually not anything that none of the bands haven't heard before.
Right.
So the reason why their Soca Drum stage exists is to ease up the congestion from the Savannah. Sometimes some bands don't even go in the Savannah because of the headache. We're lucky enough to get both, but to be honest, from a masquerader's perspective, if they want to cross a particular stage, the Soca Drum stage, as I've been told, is better for the masqueraders.
Yeah, you want to know
Yeah.
something fucked up? I played mass I played mass 2018, 2019, and 2020 with Bliss all 3 years, and not once did I ever cross the Savannah stage.
Because we didn't.
Ever.
Really?
Ever.
Not at all.
Ever.
Wow.
When I told Savannah was like, "What?"
It's not a common thing.
I was no.
So
but,
the Soca,
no, but,
so the
but here's
Soca Drum
thing.
is the main thing.
No, here's the thing.
Ironically, this year they did, though.
They try to. If they can, they will.
Okay.
But I didn't even realize that like it was a thing until 2020 I didn't play mass. 2020 I filmed. It wasn't until I was filming all
wait.
6 bands of Tribe
Right.
where I saw Bliss crossing the Savannah stage, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I was like,
No,
what?
you know what happened? We missed a year. We came out late. There was a year they did cross the Savannah stage and we missed them.
Was it on the Tuesday?
Yes,
Maybe.
there was a day we were in costume and it was raining.
Got you. Okay, so whatever the case is, and I didn't get to personally. The only time I ever actually crossed the Savannah stage, believe it or not, is I played with a Juve band, and they're the only band allowed to cross the stage. Yeah. So that was the only time I got to cross that stage as a patron, and it was one of the dopest things, bro, because it was literally when the sun was coming up. And it was the first Juve since COVID, like official one.
Mm-hmm.
So you had people that hadn't seen that stage in how many years? 3-4 years, right? And people literally ran, collapsed, rolled on it, cried, like everything, bro. It was, to me, it was probably one of the best experiences I had during Carnival.
I feel like more people need to capitalize on the when the sun is rising. Something about the sun rising.
Oh, the sun now
It's
we
very-
waking up.
Mainly in the Caribbean.
But it's very spiritual.
Yeah,
is.
something about seeing that. It's special.
There's a reason differentiology, bro. There's a
Yeah.
reason it hit the way it did, and having all the trucks. turn
But
off and
also,
play that
but
song
it
to
plays
Juve.
back into Juve and the Daybreak. I personally think our ancestors put something way back when they started the traditions that we still keep.
Yeah.
That might be the only, I don't want to say only pure experience, but one of the few pure experiences that we have. still.
Juve is one of the purest experiences during Carnival, and the reason I think that is because it strips away all the vanity, and that the commercialization of mass capitalizes on. You can't have status, and you can't have ostracization when everybody, rich and poor, is covered in paint, powder, mud, and you can't tell who is who.
Yeah, I think that's one thing Trinidad has always kept great. Like I play with Juve Jumbies and every single year. I've enjoyed playing with them because it's like something about just the feeling of being in. There's no flex, there's no nothing. It's just
Yeah. But that's Juve on a whole.
on a whole.
That's one thing I learned this year. It doesn't matter who you play with for Juve. It's going to invoke that. I played Secrets with JEL. But because I was expecting to be emotional at the stage all this time, that I was anticipating to go to Trinidad.
Nah, Juve
But-
is my favorite thing about Carnival.
Yeah, like it happened there because we were going around the savannah, and then all the emotions I had, it just like burst out of nowhere when we were passing by the savannah.
Well, you got to remember too, Gino, right? The narrative of all that stuff that you feel on the stage. All that stuff began, man, like with the generation above us. You know, that's where I first heard all the stories of, that stage melts away all your worries for this one moment. You let everything go and you just free up and feel the spirit, right?
You know I don't feel that, right?
That's what I was just gonna say.
Because
right?
for me, it's on...
But I'm saying the narrative of that, where does it come from? It comes from my parents and our grandparents' days and the Minshall days, right? And again, when you see
But
the
that's their
days.
days of playing mass.
Exactly, but that's where the narrative kind of like started, and then it kept going down through time. The narrative stayed the same. Why? Because the narrative sells, but the actual experience is not so. Bro, people post shit now that they want to walk around with scissors and cut the girl's front line feathers because it's in their way. I'm at like that's how twisted and how much of a misunderstanding there is now with mass culture in today's like younger generation of
Like
people.
granted, I actually
But you don't... Hold on, because let's rewind on one important thing. Gino mentioned the feeling he felt during Juve. Did you feel that at all on the road? And where?
Like during Carnival Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah.
To be real, bro, no, because as it is with every single year that I've told you, every year I keep saying to you, next year I'm not playing mass, I'm not doing this.
But you still keep playing mass.
Why? Because I get roped into it. People pull me in.
No, but so you don't feel it at all. Because for me, I can tell you that stretch on Muckarapa Road, after Hot Shop, Roti Shop, that is where I feel the most free. Even as a DJ, that's my favorite place to play.
Yeah.
And as a masquerader, when I used to play mass, that's when I felt the most free. Because one, you have all this fucking space.
all that
Because
space,
after
yeah.
we go on St. James Main Road and we get scrunched up like fucking cockroach.
I know what you're talking about. I just remembered in my head now.
Yeah.
I know what
When
you're
we
talking
reach
about.
out-
Cemetery?
Huh?
Is that by the cemetery?
That's you know where Courts is on the main road?
Yeah.
So we're going on Courts and then there's the KFC and the Subway and then we turn on the corner of the Subway and then we really scrouched up. When we now reach on Muckarapa Road by Hop Shop and I think it's Standard and this next barbecue place, that is where you have all the space to free up. That's my
open,
favorite part of
it's
mass.
just
And that's
open.
where I start. I look around and I see everyone having a time. I'm like, yes,
Even
this
at the
is
Soca
mass.
Drome, I feel so super free there too. Before the stage, like that area right before the stage, I feel the most free at that.
When you enter the Gene
it's the
Fair, okay.
most.
So I will say, to answer your question, do I feel that feeling? Yes, but it's like it's not nearly as much as I feel it during Juve. Juve is like 100x that, bro.
Oh,
So it's not to say that the feeling doesn't exist, but it's not the same. Like it's not the same as when I play Juve and when and I see everybody around me too. It's not the same as like that type of revelry that I see, man. But I don't know. I think that and again that's like coming back to like Lost Tribe. I think that's one of the things that I respect about them and the other local bands that decide to kind of try their best to stick to tradition, which I know it's not easy to do. But I think that like the younger people and the people now coming to mass, especially a lot of people, from New York, specifically Queens, that are going to Trinidad Carnival now that have access to it. I realize they don't understand what mass really is, and they're not there to understand mass. They're there to take pictures and say that they're there.
But whose fault is that?
I know it's the commercialization of mass. It's you know what I mean.
Is
I
it
get
though, or is it?
It's lack of
Because
information.
I would also like to argue. Really, in
No.
2024,
No,
we're gonna
it's
argue
not
lack of information.
Not lack of-
When you spending your hard ass time on making videos about it.
No, I didn't mean
Do you mean lack of drive to educate themselves?
That's
about
what I
it?
meant. Yes, yes.
But
I didn't mean
then,
lack of information.
but then let me ask a stupid question, and I understand this is going to be controversial.
Yeah.
Is that an American mentality?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
Because
yes.
the same way I could go on my phone, look my phone here, I could go and look up what does it mean to play mass, what is carnival. We have fucking technology at our fingertips to tell us anything.
well, here's the thing.
Why
is-
wouldn't we
yeah.
not go and look up to see the same way I could go and look up and say, oh, I know when I go to Trinidad, I have to go and try doubles, beak and shark. When I go Barbados, I have to try flying fish. I know about things I would want to eat, right? Why it can't work the same way for mass?
So I think that
Laziness is a
it's
part of it.
I don't think it's uniquely an American thing because when I played with Bliss, they're local Trinidadian people, girls, that I've seen that act in the most classist way possible, bro. Like they serious.
I mean,
serious.
that also is the band you're playing with.
Yeah, well, of course.
No disrespect
No,
to the
of course.
tribe monopoly of
Bro,
bands, but
I don't love playing in Bliss. I only play in Bliss because for whatever reason, everybody around me, all my friends want to play
we
in Bliss.
invited you to Yuma this year.
So like all these like circumstances and stuff, and it's not to say that Bliss is a shit band because it's not. It's just not a band for me. And for the legacy Bliss people,
fair.
they will tell you the same thing. The people
That's
who've
fair.
been playing in Bliss for like 10, 15 years, they will still say today, like to this day, they will be like mass in the past like 2-3 years. They're like, it's not what it used to be. Like they don't feel like they are treated and accepted the same way. It has become super classist.
Well, that's what the monopoly of tribe bands have done. As you mentioned in a previous episode with another artist, the way how Carnival has become, especially with the tribe monopoly of bands, is they've created these different bands for different demographics of society. So, the rich people, couples, the downtown part of Trinidad, the
LGBTQ
foreigners, the
population.
LGBTQ population. That's how these bands have now been created to segregate people, and that's not what mass is about. Mass was brought to bring people together regardless of age, creed, sexual orientation, etc. But now we're seeing a clear division that's happening in mass.
No, 100%. I also think too, it's like,
And for you to distinguish that X band is not the band for you,
yeah.
says a lot.
No, 100%.
A lot of people are like that too. They'll say like certain bands is not for me at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
I've learned.
But the thing is that it wasn't supposed to be like that, as JEL said, right? That's not what the foundation is. And that's why I think we're in such a weird time where it's like we already live, all of us, we live in a country where we don't know who to trust. We know the government doesn't have our best interests. We know our job doesn't have our best interests. We know that we literally need to fight for ourselves, for our survival in terms of like working and making money. So like we try to go to Carnival as a way to kind of, try to escape some of that, right?
Escape the ills of society.
Yes, and
well said.
and be part of something that's supposed to be much larger than just us. And so like for me
And
to
connect with our culture.
and connect with our culture, right? And like literally that's what it's supposed to be. And I feel like I value that personally, but now that I've seen that certain bands don't value that, like I don't want to fuck with them. And unlike people in Miami with a short-term memory, they will just not get my dollars. It's like that. It's like it's so simple to me. I've told people, I'm like, yo, if I don't find a band that fits my needs, which for me isn't asking for a lot. I told you, I'm like, yo, I will join a t-shirt band if the vibes is up and I feel
No,
The t-shirt man
that's
comments-
not what he told me. He will join the Tanti.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah,
there's
all
a
stars.
year where Bliss was passing a band. I tell you, no one in this band was under the age of 60. Tell me why they have more fun than we. We and Bliss looking miserable. Everybody in the Tanti band having a fucking time.
Yo, minimum age 70 years old. No, I'm exaggerating. 60 years
60.
old.
Still,
minimum age.
that's insane.
And they having way more fun.
No DJs.
No DJs, live
Only
band.
live bands, bro.
I swear it's Etty and Charles playing in the band too. The way how they had more fun than everyone else was like,
Yo, JEL and I
Rich?
posted up with them
Just
for
like,
a half hour. We posted with them for a half hour, and we were just chipping, and they were so happy. Like when they saw us come, they were so happy. They were like smiling with us, and they like put their like this little old lady and this old man. They like put their head on our shoulders, and they were like, yeah. And yo, they outdrink us too.
Yeah,
at their age.
It's great to see that though, that people don't necessarily have to age out of mass. So if it is I decide to be like Patrice and still doing it while I'm old and gray, I have an option.
Yeah.
And it's like I was like saying in when we did our other recording, it's like I feel like the way mass is gonna go, because it already is like that, is like you have to now look for bands that are gonna give you what you're looking for, as opposed to joining any band and getting a true carnival experience. Like it's not like how it used to be where you could do that. Now it's like, okay, like you want to play mass, what kind of experience do you want to have? What kind of people do you want to be around? Do you want to be around young people? Do you want to be around old people? Do you want to wear like a more skimpy costume? Do you want something more traditional? Do you want DJs that are going to play like power soca and groovy soca? Or do you want people that are going to play zest and nasty business? Like that's the way I see it going now. And and the fucked up thing is that you don't know what you're going to get until you get there. And by the time you do, it's too late.
I think people need to understand too, they're not just the big bands. There's also medium-sized bands, small bands. Everyone thinks, mainly for Trinidad, obviously.
Yeah, there's only 5 bands.
No, there's like, I won't say hundreds, but there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Hundreds.
Between Port of Spain and South, there's a whole bunch of bands. And everyone wants to be like, well, Trinidad Carnival is so expensive. And I'm like, you could play in another band that is not as expensive.
I have unpopular opinion. Trinidad Carnival is not expensive unless you want to make it expensive.
Well,
Right.
airfare.
Yeah, I mean, accommodation, airfare.
I find
Actually, no. I told Gino this literally hours before. The flight to Trinidad this year is not that expensive via JetBlue.
Like, you should leave that.
It's the most expensive
right
thing.
now it's like 600.
The most expensive thing for me every year for mass is really just accommodation.
Yeah.
The
That's
the Airbnbs are ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
Like
That speaks more
There's
so to
a way to
Trinidad.
swing it if you travel with people, though. If you're doing 2, then
like there's definitely ways to avoid the whole accommodation issue,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I feel Trinidad Carnival is expensive, but not the way
it's not as expensive as
Yeah.
people, especially if you don't have to go every all-inclusive. This is not Ricardo Drew's song bet. You don't have to go every all-inclusive. You could go a cooler fete. You could go a wet fete. You could go even some of the free events that take place during
And there's
Carnival
a
that people
lot
don't know about.
It's a lot of free events too,
So you don't have to go every expensive.
and there's a
fete.
lot of bands that are not charging that much money. Like they're charging obviously for obvious reasons, but they're not charging.
But you could still have a great experience for Carnival. The key thing is where your crew is at is where you'll have the most time.
Exactly.
The best time, sorry.
Exactly. It's
Once you and your crew is down to do anything, you could bring them in a small band and have the best fucking time versus if you were in a big band trying to fight up with Tom, Dick, and Harry to get a drink.
I actually feel
I prefer the small bands.
I actually feel small bands more fun than big bands.
I prefer, like, that's the reason I love playing Juve with Dirty Pleasures and you guys, because I feel, aside from being able to take Carib and White Oak,
I'm punching.
it's smaller and I'm not so cramped. Shit from Blackie.
Bombastic side.
Yo. But I for one, I prefer the smaller bands. The only thing with the smaller bands that and it's not the fault of the small bands at all, it's just the nature of things. I wish that I could get a small band with a fucking mean truck and mean sound system. But I get those things are directly related to the amount of funds available. So like large bands can have very high production trucks.
But also the availability, because one thing is that the bigger bands will rent out the sound system they want 6 to 7 months in advance.
Yeah.
I actually have a theory. I feel somebody is going to have a band with only t-shirt sections. They're not going to have no feathers, no costumes. It's going to be only t-shirts.
So I know a few people in Trinidad experimenting with it right now, but they can't get the concept off the ground.
I think that's going to happen.
But that could happen based on the economy.
I think
so-
that's eventually going to happen. I think that's going to happen within the next 1 to 2 years.
And Antigua does a real good job of it, actually.
Don't tell them about that.
Yeah.
I feel Antiguans have told me keep that a secret.
Yeah.
Their whole t-shirt thing.
It's really not a secret. It's
I mean,
on social media.
I mean, true. But
You could-
a lot
I
of
mean,
people
they
don't know about that. So.
Yeah,
Because Vinci does it too. Monday Mass is no costume. Monday is t-shirt bands in St. Vincent. So
But here's, Trinidad Carnival specifically for women, like Monday itself is like becoming just as expensive now as almost as costly.
because of the cost
Because of the Monday wear. And people want custom design Monday
I
wear.
wish people did what Lucia does. Lucia does the thing where they flip it.
yeah.
So on Monday you wear your costumes. On Tuesday you wear your Monday wear. I wish that was for
Well,
the entire
Tuesday,
Caribbean. That would be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, but we'll wrap up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be dope if we do a part 2 because I know there's like a lot of stuff we want to talk about, like specifics of events, like what makes, what makes certain events,
Like I was
better
hoping
and more
Blackie would have
better
gotten
experience than
to
others.
even the promos for events too, because we have conversations about how promoters don't know how to promote events.
Oh, I'll do it real quick. Promoters, stop. In the beginning of your video, you don't say nothing for the first 5 seconds, and it's just quiet like this. And they say, "Yo, today is like talk." At least edit it out before you do that. But I feel a lot of promoters don't know how to promote their own parties, and they rely on people like myself or other content creators to promote their own parties, like
And DJs.
and DJ. Which
Yeah, so we gotta post the flyer.
Let me say it for you. Promoters, DJs are not responsible for promoting your party. You're the promoter. Promote your own party. Unless in the contract you tell your DJ to promote your party, they don't have to promote it.
I think DJs should be paid extra.
JEL's not going to say it. I'll say it for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I will say it. I'm not posting your flyer to get 5 likes, and then you want to blame me for your party not turning out good.
And it's weird because
If you are a promoter, you should at least always have 50 paying people to come to your party. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in promotion.
also stretch your promotion out too. Don't think like, for example, if you have a wicked DJ lineup, right? Stretch it out. Like what I do for my party is I do once a week. I release a new DJ. Some promoters just drop the DJ lineup 2 months before your party, and it's like, what are you gonna promote now? What are you gonna do? It's just, to me, it's just promotion. It's so, I said it before. Promotion is very simple. Marketing in general is simple. It's basically talking about your product in unique ways over and over again. That's all marketing really is. I know there's other logistic things to it, other things to talk about, but the main thing about marketing is finding unique ways to talk about your product over and over again. And I find a lot of Caribbean promoters don't understand that compared to African American promoters. They understand that.
I think
That's just my thoughts.
I think when it comes to promoters relying on DJs to promote their things, it's not fair because
dumb.
they're
It's
not.
laziness.
It's not just that. It's 100% laziness, and it's like you're relying on other people to do the work and market things for you without compensating them.
when you're
Like
the promoter.
when you're the promoter, like a promoter should have a budget and say like, "Yo, I'm going to I'm gonna book the DJ, and then I'm gonna pay them on top of that to promote it." It's like it should be like there should be 2 rates. It should be like, okay, this is your rate just a DJ. All right, cool. I can do that. But yo, between you and me, if I swing you something, do you think you can help push it because you have the following, you have the crowd that I'm looking for. I'm still working on building that. And and okay, fine. If we don't have the funds to do that,
Even if it's just one video.
bro.
Just one video.
Even, let me tell you something a promoter did.
But I just want to say something
Go
real
ahead.
quick. Yeah, I just want to say, like, even if even if let's say budget is not a thing, like monetarily they can do it. Okay, at least be willing to sit down with talents, not just DJs only, but be willing to sit down with people and be like, yo, bro, I can't do this monetarily, but what can I do for you to make your experience at this event better, to incentivize you to promote this?
Yeah.
Do you want to bring some people and I can maybe arrange like a section for you? Maybe I can lock in a long-term contract with you and give you the money up front that way, and this way you're more incentivized to push the event because you'll be locked in with us. You know what I mean? I just
Commission off a ticket sales.
Yes,
There's many ways to do
a
it.
percentage,
ways.
something. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's just all I wanted to say.
And all I was going to say, to your point, one thing a promoter has done, which I was impressed with, they came with a budget and I was like, you know what? I don't understand Instagram marketing at all. I don't understand how to do ads, but I know you do. Here, take $100. I want you to, when you put up your promo video, put $100 behind it and get people to go to the party. And guess what? Party sold out.
It's just that simple. Like, it's not. Marketing's so simple to me, but I realize Caribbean people just don't. Some Caribbean people don't understand it. And it's weird because it's like you just pay. I took one business class when I was in college, and it's just simple. Marketing is so simple. That's really it to me.
What the hell did you study in college? University?
I went to BMCC, then I went from BMCC to Mega Everest, and I took one business class at
My boy stayed in
BMCC.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you study?
It was Bachelor of Performing Arts, basically media. Everything I'm doing now, that's basically what I studied for. But I decided to take one business class because I knew business would be involved in media and stuff like that, and entertainment as a whole.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, guys. Well, we've been at it now for about 2 hours and 20 minutes ish. So yeah, but it's been real. I'll look into like scheduling another one, obviously, for all of us to come together, because I do think there's a lot we can say.
We didn't talk a lot. We didn't talk about.
At this point, this is a lime. This isn't even a podcast, bro. This is a lime cast.
And the worst part is, even when we're off camera, this is what we talk about.
Yeah, like literally. Like these guys think
if you consider how much me and Blackie lime and then Gino too, separately, we could have this conversation for hours.
Yeah.
Hours. Like, so yeah, it only makes sense. That's why we do the Soca Analyst
But
podcast.
Blackie, for those who are living under a rock, where can we find you online?
So you can find me on a multitude of places. That's the multitude. Instagram, Blackie97. My other Instagram account, my second Instagram account, is Soca_Influencer. You can find me on TikTok. TikTok is big. All Soca artists get to go on TikTok, but it's Blackie97 as well too. You can find me on YouTube. I will start making more long form of content. That's Soca Influencer. Twitter is Blackie_97. Facebook is Blackie Chan, but I'm be honest with y'all, I don't use Facebook. Like I scroll here and there, but it's Facebook.
You should, because Reels are popping off on Facebook right now,
I will,
and you can make money off of Reels.
And I think that's about it in terms of content. I mean, in terms of social media platforms. I'm working on a website. Yes, I've been told I need to make a website by these two here, JEL and Gino. So that's a work in progress. But those are my main social media sites.
And then you're on Spotify as well.
Oh yes, link in bio for my Spotify playlists. All Soca them, all the Soca playlists. Antigua, Vinci, Grenada, Trinidad, Lucia, St. Kitts. I have a Bunyon playlist. So yeah.
And Gino, where can we find you, Way?
Me?
Not in the shadows.
Only if you want to be found.
I mainly use Instagram for the most part. My tag is It's Luigi on IG. That's that's what I use for the most part. I don't use the other platforms for the most part. So.
No website?
I mean, I make them for people, but I don't have my own.
So if somebody wants to work with you, how they get in contact?
Contact me on Instagram.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks for listening, all there.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening. Yes, be sure to check us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. And yeah, we always appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. It was vibes. It was vibes on vibes and all this white oak.
Plenty white oak drink, but
Yeah,
what was that? Half?
It's almost done.
Half a bottle and then a quarter the drinkers.
We haven't taken a shot yet.
But-
We sure take a shot, by the way. I just realized that.
Why we didn't take a shot in the beginning?
You're right.
See how Blackie does it. But thanks for listening, all there.
Thanks, all.
Big up and bless.
The Soca Analyst. Caribbean culture to the world. Subscribe now on YouTube, iTunes, podcasts, and Google Play Music.